Welcome in, everybody, to the final day of the Paladins Premier League for Phase 2. My name is Pretty Hair, and I'm so excited to bring the action to you today because we really are blessed. We have two matches today that matter greatly for the seeding for the World Championship. Not, the 5th, 6th, 7th seed or 8th seed. We are talking about the 1st seed and the 3rd seed on the line today. Couldn't have asked for a better way to capstone Phase 2. Here with me to bring you the first set of the day is Kresnik, Mr. Bobby Weimer. How you doing today, boss?
Doing pretty good. Excited to watch these teams play for the right to sleep in.
That's right, man. That's right. These first seed, I don't know. Seeding this year to me, with how competitive the league is and how scary, frankly, the top 6 teams can be on any given day, it is what it is, but I think it's nice just to stave off those scarier matchups for just a little bit longer in this tournament.
For sure, but honestly, you don't even know who you're going to go against, right? The qualifier bracket could go however.
Yeah.
It's not like the 4th seed is going to play against the 5th seed, right? They might not play against SSG.
Part of it.
Who knows?
That's a big, big part of it. Let's take a look at the standings for the final day of the Paladins Premier League. Na'Vi currently in the lead, but that could change. Ninjas in Pajamas hot on their heels, just one win separating those two teams. And what do you know? They play today. Great stuff there. Team Envy Virtus.Pro, one win separating those two. And what do you know? They play today. Perfect scenario here in my mind to finish out the day. Virtus.Pro, of course, right there at the cutoff, locked in. The top 4 are locked, but the seedings could flip-flop depending on how the day goes. SSG, Knights, Kanga, Renegades is the follow-up there. Very fun to watch those teams play a little bit yesterday. And I have to say, NIP looked very, very clinical against SSG yesterday, but on Stone Keep, there was something there, man. When SSG are unlocked, they are a scary team.
Yeah, and we can hopefully we see that going into the qualifier bracket. This team with a lot of potential, because definitely want to be able to see them at Worlds. We know that's kind of their home. I mean, look at how close they went with the World Champions last time. So always excited to see those teams at the bottom be able to really fight with the ones that are higher up in the standings.
So let's talk about our shifting scenarios, is what I will call them today. So NIP could take the 1st seed. If they 4-0 Na'Vi, do you realistically think that's going to happen?
You never... realistically, no. Na'Vi are just so consistent.
When's the last time Na'Vi got 4-0'd? I think it's happened once this year.
I think they had Mike.
I think... True. I think at full strength, though, this is a team that's it's just it's not only is it almost unbeatable, but almost definitely not 4-0able. Very tough, I think, task for Ninjas in Pajamas today. And I want to talk real quick about Envy as well. I mean, getting 4-0'd yesterday by the Knights is kind of a big upset. I don't know what I'm expecting from them today against VP.
They're also inconsistent. They're playing against VP, who I think we saw as a kind of paragon of consistency earlier in this phase, right? But then after that break, they came back. Maybe they're struggling a little bit. They hadn't practiced in quite a while. Similar situation to what SSG was in earlier in this phase. But I think they've practiced enough where they could be back potentially to the form that they had earlier. That's kind of what I hope to see for them today. But they do have another double header. That's something that they're really going to have to work through. And maybe it means that they take this first matchup a little less seriously. Even if they lose this matchup 4-0, all they have to do is win their matchup against Envy to be able to take that seeding from them.
That is correct. And I think, in my opinion, man, that's got to be nothing but a boon for Virtus.Pro.
Yeah.
They have 2 games today. The first one is purely a warm-up. This game, it does not matter how it goes. If they get 4-0'd, if Virtus.Pro 4-0 Kanga, nothing matters except that match with Envy today. We've done the math. We're rock solid on how we think about this one. Osips has got to be a rock for his team today, whether he's playing an R or whatever it is. This front line, this point front line, he's got to be on point. He really is, I think, coming to his own this year and really put himself among the top echelon of other point frontliners, showing that he has the sense, he has the X factor of how to stay relevant as a point front line and not take his foot off the gas.
I agree with that for sure. Playing against Doe for however long, I never thought he was a huge standout player. I always thought he was really smart, and I was never like, oh, Doe's the reason they lost that game, right? He was never that for me, but now I think we've watched games and been like, oh my god, Doe just won that game with the way he was positioned with his ultimates, everything connecting for him. I think VP, the way this team plays, is perfect for his style of just playing smart, like never going for the hero plays, but his team kind of allows him to be in that position.
What more can you ask for? Never the reason for a loss, but sometimes your win condition. Dosup's such a critical part of this Virtus.Pro lineup. Like you mentioned, such a smart guy, pretty reserved, doesn't get tilted, really doesn't, yell at anyone ever. Always even keel. I think just in terms of his character as a person, I think probably one of my favorite people just to be around in this league. Very easy to get along with. I've always said, if you have a problem with Dosups, if you don't get along, it's a you problem, right? I don't know anyone that can't get along with Dosups.
Do you remember his old streams? Wouldn't he just like play without his mic on, listening to audiobooks?
Maximum chill mode engaged,
just
dude.
Audiobooks playing in the background.
No cam,
the whole time.
Most of the time no mic, just hanging out. But you could get his attention. You could get him to unmute and make a little comment, of course. Virtus.Pro, super incredible team. Hella fun to watch this phase. Their opponents today, Kanga Esports. Again, volatile, I think, can do anything on a given day. What they might do in a matchup that doesn't mean anything for them or for Virtus.Pro, that's what I'm wondering.
I mean, they already play like there's nothing on the line, right? Now we're going to see totally Kanga Unchained. The training weights are off.
Yeah.
They've already vanished and they're behind you, and there's nothing you can do. Gotta say, Evil Eye, I mean, he played with, well, his wife was...
Newfound dad strength.
He's a newfound dad now. She was going through that while he had to come here and play those matches, and I still think he performed well. Now that pressure's off for him. I expect big things, I think, from him moving forward.
He played super well last week, I felt, and we kind of had him under the microscope a little bit, and I think it's fair to put him under the microscope again today. Sitting across from Dosups, his old teammate, these two played together for a long, long time. Again, another guy who I just think has a really good mentality and approach. One little nugget of knowledge is I learned that on G2 he had to retry out for his spot a bunch of times, and watching his performance you would never guess that, right? You never really was like, Evil Eye's just so underperforming. But I think it's that type of mentality, not taking it personal, totally cool with it, retries out, obviously crushes it, gets the spot back, and continues to rock and roll with G2. It's almost a very professional approach, right? Not, sometimes people get a little emotional, right, if there's friends or cliques on the team, but I think Evil Eye is, again, a very, very valuable asset that can kind of be plugged in and be very professional about how he conducts himself.
Agreed, yeah, and I don't think he was even the least inconsistent person on their team, right? I think Bodies over time was
that's why I was surprised to hear that about Evil Eye.
Yeah, and I don't think he ever really, I'm sure he did at least once with how that team functioned, but you got to think how Evil Eye would be the one constantly doing that and still performing every single time. It's unaffected.
Yeah, so let's head to the maps and figure out what's going to be banned out. Serpent Beach, I believe I saw Splitstone there. Warder's Gate and Ice Mines as well. Again, this is a barometer matchup. This one doesn't affect anything, but the next two matchups will. So I'm going to be looking very closely at how Virtus.Pro, specifically Virtus.Pro, have something on the line today. Kanga don't as much. So we'll be watching Kanga, kind of see if they're developing anything new in the lab. I don't think they'll be wanting to reveal anything, though, Krez. I think that's the biggest thing with nothing really to gain here. Strats are going to be under wraps behind the Iron Curtain. Virtus.Pro, however, they might be looking to, kind of tune something up. Obviously not giving away any pocket strats or anything like that, but I think really kind of looking to make sure they feel good about this performance, right? They're not gonna troll. I don't think they're gonna take their foot off the gas.
No Quint DPS on both sides.
No, sir. There is so much I think to gain for them in the final matchup with Envy. They want to feel as good as possible, leaving the booth after this set.
Even so, I don't know if they want this to go 7 games, right? If Kanga's putting up a big fight, do VP want to punch back as hard as they can the whole time? If this goes 7 games,
question.
What does that? Yeah, what does that mean for them?
I've never been in that situation. It's hard for me to say of, how I've had the 30-minute ranked games on Timbermill, right? And that is enough for me to just close the game.
Now do that 7 times in a row.
Exactly.
And then do it again.
It's mentally draining, the adrenaline, especially when something is on the line. When this is your whole world, and this is what you've been competing for all year long, I have to imagine, man, those sets are draining. But have at least not the back-to-back doubleheader. They will get the break. So depending on how long the Nip Navi set goes, and I'll be honest with you, I'm expecting at least, I think, 6 games out of that set.
Sure. And I think Nip's hoping for a 4-0.
Yeah.
For sure. Maybe if Nip qualify, that'll be a quick one, I guess.
I so doubt it. I so doubt Na'Vi are going to be getting 4-0 today, man. It's just not something I'm seeing in the cards. Khan banned away. Strix taken off. Rosengard is the first map. If you can't read or can't see that little tidbit there below Dosub's beautiful face here for his second to last matchup of Phase 2. And Nara Cassie taken out of the pool by Kanga, leaving both Makoa and Atlas open. Atlas will be the pick of the litter.
And I think this is a great start for Kanga because they get the best remaining point tank and they get Makoa with Cassie banned. So that big game counter is not there that they have to deal with at all. That Makoa will be able to be a lot more aggressive. See what VP's response will be. Maybe Willow. It's a very flat map, so I'm not sure if that's necessarily perfect for it, but they made Drogo's work on this map before. If they can make that work, I pretty much I'm putting nothing past VP at this point.
Exactly. That is my line of thought as well. I thought there was no way in hell that they were going to be able to make that pick work here. We've seen people start to get pretty good at and I think it's fair to say Willow has a decent enough projectile size where it's not crazy. Yeah, you know, you're gonna hit some directs if you're a solid blaster. And it is Fisheko sitting there in the booth for VP, so we'll go ahead and call him a solid enough player to be able to do it.
Bold statement.
Yeah, I know. I'm out on a limb here, guys. Please help me out. Maeve locked in for Kanga Esports, their third and fourth picks. And Io's been very critical, I think, to the success of Kanga as of late. Not to say they've been one-tricking it, but it's just it plays so heavily into the style that they have been succeeding with.
Yeah, agreed. And it lets them be really aggressive with their tanks. Lets the Barrack get off point and push when he has the opportunity to, right? But when push comes to shove, he can pull back and he can spam from that objective while staying alive. Maeve is going to be great on this map, too, for that rotation poke potential.
I never think about Ruckus enough, man.
This Ruckus would be
bringing out the big guns.
Interesting. I mean, Ashe is still up, but it is into Makoa. The ability to hook from there will be kind of difficult. They don't have that stun into the back line, but Ruckus maybe just to be aggressive with the Buck and to dive off of the Inflame along with the Fayflight, the Willow. Like, they have a very aggressive composition on VP's side. And that's kind of been, I think, their MO since they made these roster changes of how they like to take games into their own hands. They like to just walk at you, and they're the ones picking the fights, which means they're always going to be more ready for it than you are.
You know that style is going to work very well with Crunchy and Arrays. I mean, Penta was a very aggressive team. Calculated, but aggressive at the end of the day. Kanga's final selection here. Looks like it will be the Slick Vic, which is kind of diveable.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is he going like cardio scramble? Is that like the response to that hard dive?
I don't know, man. I guess Leon is really the only other thing at the front of my mind for the Chronix pool of characters there. If you're not looking to get super aggressive, I feel like if you're sitting back against a pretty aggressive composition, Leon's got some better turnaround potential than Victor.
Could be Viv too, also potentially if you want to survive.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't thinking about that.
Yeah, it is Victor though, and they want to have that poke potential. They think that the poke will be enough to flip it before they can get on top of him.
I'm excited, man. A lot of aggression drafted here. We'll see who runs over who in Game 1.
Thank you guys so much from the desk. I'm Fawn, joined by Gore Miser. And this is interesting. We've got the IO to be able to pretty much just place Luna on point so that they can continue their aggression on the sides with everyone else. But VP's got that too. I asked you a little bit beforehand, before it actually came to us, what is VP's plan? Who's going to stand on point?
Yeah, it's this really weird mix where, as you pointed out, with IO and with Barrack, Kanga have two people who are really, really good at staying on the objective. Virtus.Pro, this is I'm going to kill you dead real fast kind of composition. The entire goal is just fight and win that fight and do really well. Atlas can kind of hang out on the objective, but a lot of this is going to be controlling the objective. And you know, we were laughing about it because we were like, Atlas, Willow, Furia. Yeah. Anytime you see those three together, it's something you should be absolutely worried about. The follow-up with Buck, I think, is going to be interesting. Gone for the bulk up here. And then Ruckus kind of opens it up to damage, just pure damage outright. Their inflames are going to be insane later on in this game.
I mean, you've got the Buck to be able to at least provide a little bit more health, but first shot's already ring true. The divider taking that talent to make sure that no one else can fire, at least in the general direction they are. Chronix is actually getting dove a little bit, but Doseps is going to be the first to go down. The Seedlings actually come out, Dead Zone gets dropped, but they're already on top of Furia. They've just placed Luna directly on point, like we were saying, and it's paying off in dividends for Kanga already at 54%.
I mean, just being able to move on in. Pretty much everything about Virtus.Pro's draft just kind of got dismantled right there, and that is unfortunate for him. Chronix loves Victor on this map, so not surprising to see him already off to a pretty good start. You get Makoa, you get Io, it's all point control from Kanga. I mean, they're playing the objective. Virtus.Pro are going to have to flip this one on its head next round to be able to figure this out.
2 minutes and 19 seconds. Kanga just capturing the point. It's currently 1-0. Evil Eye going around for the flank, but Sheko is going to open up this fight with a good kill on the Chronix. Evil Eye's in the back line. He's throwing daggers at Vex, trying to make sure that he can focus him down, but he's going to get burned down by the rest of VP. They've already taken out enough individuals on Kanga's side to be able to flip the script and turn onto Evil Eye. They get rid of Joel's as well, but Joel's is going to get rid of VP's healer.
I only have one downside to this, and it is just wondering if they could keep that up, right? It's finding this consistency with it. Granted, first game of the day, so it might take them a little bit to get into it. It's a completely different style of draft and play style that they're going to be going for as well. But it's very important for them. I would honestly argue to start winning these fights pretty much from that point on. You can afford to lose a little bit, but you need the confidence that this is going to work. And you already lose your Willow and your Atlas, two of your powerhouses.
Yeah, I mean, you lose 3 of them, about to lose a 4th. Vex is actually going to back up, but he's going to die too. You got a minute 20 still available on the clock. Some of them have their caught 2s, caught 1s. I mean, the items are still there, but it's just a matter of, like you were saying, Gore, I mean, like, can VP actually be able to try and rectify this in the next round if they can't rectify it soon enough?
Well, they're going to have to figure it out, whether or not they can. Io, more than likely going to kind of place Luna. If you put her in the right spot, the payload pushes her, and, well, Luna also pushes the payload, so you just keep going forward, and that will enable Garab to do much like this, where he can just kind of hang off on the side. With Midnight coming out, that is all aggression. They're looking to convert this in the next 45.
Oof, but the dead zone gets dropped, and Doseps lives with barely an inch of his life. Gonna get healed back up with Vex, and now you have a raise on the Buck, applying that pressure into the back line, firing at low health targets, and you got Pacheco up here on the bridge, firing down, gets a kill on the Chronix. Crunchy is gonna also be picked off by Joels. This leaves things pretty even with 25 seconds left on the clock. Another good kill on the Joels. That might flip the script in VP's favor.
Keeping the tanks off kilter here is exactly what they need. Get Joels out of here, and it makes it a little bit easier. As long as Makoa doesn't find a choice hook onto someone like Vex or Pacheco, it does leave this, unfortunately, out in the middle of no man's land if you're Kanga. Trying to figure out a way out here without taking too much damage from all of the hit scan presence VP has is difficult.
They put Luna on the point just to be able to give him a little bit of time to be able to come back, but Ray's inside. Once again, still firing. Gonna heal back up, and gets healed by Vex. The divider goes out. Of course, the shots are being fired, but Vex actually got dove by Evil Eye. He's going to be able to get the last hit onto that, deal with her, and now we're going to keep pushing up. The stun actually comes out directly on the Doseps, but that leaves them cut off. You already see Pacheco dive in the back line, but everyone on the point is dying, and you got a 1-1 score already with all 5 ultimates up for VP.
And that's going to be key. I think a lot of this fight for them is not oriented around kind of the no-ult fight that they had going into round 1. It's oriented around in-flame overpowering people. I mean, it's just not going to be handled too well by Kanga. A lot of tanky targets on that one, but with a bulldozer potentially picked up, that gets rid of Luna, and you get a little bit of wrecker on this team with an inflame. The shields should be gone as well. Makes it very difficult for Evil Eye or Chronix to get aggressive. Having Vex's ult up is probably the most essential thing to continue their success, or at least to start turning it around in their favor for this round.
Right, I mean, is there anything that stands out to you in terms of item scores? Everyone else just pretty much getting something that's pretty standard? It looks pretty standard to me. I mean, I don't see anything
I'm a little
different.
surprised more so at the lack. At least one bulldozer kind of comes to my mind. I mean, for Pacheco, I think it would be pretty big, but I like that he's gone for Haven to try to keep himself alive for a little while.
We already see that the Enflame comes out, Faith by so many ultimates.
Wow.
Raze is still going to be able to get that kill. They're going to be able to help out Pacheco in the sky, get rid of the person that was trying to dive or deal with him. Vex goes down, but you already lost 4 of your targets. Now Gara has to back up they've already started gaining percentage on the point. Kanga has 4 ults up. They didn't use a single one during that fight, which means that when they come back to point, they are going to be looking to try and make a difference in this next point fight with 51% on the point for VP.
Being on equal footing, if Evil Eye can get a couple more daggers, get this up to 100%, Midnight, perfect way to re-engage, but a good hook already starts this off. Still no ult used from Kanga. They at least have a dome shield to get in and secure themselves an objective.
Here we go. We have the barrage that actually opens things up. Midnight follows through, but you still actually get 2 kills despite that. Chronix, Gara, both of them go down. The dome shield gets dropped, and now they've swapped targets to Dosips. The Ancient Rage gets popped in their back line, and he's going to be taken care of. But you still got the Willow to deal with. Evil Eye engaging on one-on-one, but Rhino is going to be able to rotate, help out his teammate. Now Erase is stuck in a one-on-one with Rhino as well. He's going to have to put up the shield, but 87% to 63. This is a really, really close point fight, and it can still go either way.
The problem with really close point fights is that Kanga have the favorable draft to contain and control the objective. It's going to take a lot of kills right now from Erase or someone to get things rolling, but they didn't even touch.
Yeah, no one actually was able to touch the point on VP's side. You still have the Inflame, Faithlight steadily building up. You have Hexafire slowly coming up as well, but you just get wiped. And I mean, VP, this is what we were talking about beforehand, Gore, about how their draft is scary, but it's just Kanga's point control has been so on point, oddly enough to say that. It's just so hard to try and find an opening for them. I mean, they have to wait till Inflame to be up for them to even go in.
There's just so much against Virtus.Pro here. I mean, if you change out, I think during that draft, if you drop this Ruckus, let Cruncy have the Atlas and then grab the Fernando or something instead, just have someone to fight on the point, I think you're in a better scenario than you are right now. Josephs is doing just fine on this Ruckus, but it doesn't feel like the draft it's trying to fight against. Right. It doesn't have anything to contend the point against Varric or Luna. And if you lose a fight, you lose the whole thing. You don't get a reprieve. You don't have a saving ult. It is just all aggression. You either win or you lose.
Yeah, Cruncy, Dosips are going to go down. I mean, they are just, I can't really say steamrolling them, but they're definitely giving VP a run for their money. That much is for sure. You got a minute 10 still available on the clock, and you have a lot of credits on Kanga's side. I mean, VP are going to have to try to find their chance at life here. Fasheko's firing directly onto the point, trying to zone out whoever's on it, but I mean, they're just backing up, taking their time. Divider goes out, but still, no confirmed kills yet. Everyone's biding their time on both teams.
Couple of good shots. This is where hit scan long range is going to shine bright. Chronix is kind of forced to stay locked down, but that's also why Luna is so great in this scenario. It's just, hey, we'll throw something on the payload, always contesting, and I can heal way back here. Gara is under pretty much no pressure, and with a kill onto VP, even though they have respawn proximity, that's big for Kanga.
X-Fire gets used in combination with Divider, but still, nothing. 25 seconds, and the time is steadily ticking down, but a good opening kill on the Chronix. Dosips is engaged with Evil Eye on the side, but they're trying to put their pressure onto the point, onto the payload, but you already got rid of both frontliners. Now that's going to allow Fasheco to be able to try and dive into that back line, try and make a difference, but you get another kill for the man, and he's going to be able to get a double for Virtus.Pro.
This looks like it should just go the way. Tie this up 2-2. I don't think they're going to be able to touch, and they won't. So this, in my mind, is the perfect play from Kanga, actually, more than Virtus.Pro. Virtus.Pro win that fight because Kanga are trying to win it by usual aggression. They didn't use any ult. They didn't want to drop anything that big to try and convert that because it's a 3-1 lead. Comeback mechanic. All Virtus.Pro have to do is win a single fight and they'd be able to win a point. They instead keep it 2-2, equal footing, where they have point control and way over what Virtus.Pro have been able to bring. And they're going to have all 5 ults ready to come into this one. Even if this Inflame gets popped by Vex early on and maybe things just kind of sweep through Kanga for one fight, they have at least 3 re-engage ults on their team, and then 2 confirm me the point ults in Begone and the Barrage, both either able to find a kill or just push you back, maybe even off the map if you can get the right angle.
So it's just still waiting around this corner. Of course, Luna gets dropped on point immediately without any sort of consideration. Cruncy puts out the Divider. That's going to be good. He's going to use Exile, drop all that up. He gets Evil Eye. He's looking at Chronix. He's able to exile the 2 of them. That's going to allow them some setup, but you already see that they're diving. They drop Dead Zone on Chronix.
Wow.
He explodes as soon as he comes out of that exile. Now they're just firing on Joel. But this happened last time. I mean, they used all of their ultimates, but Kanga have used nothing. still. And the score is even. They don't have comeback mechanic. So it's still going to build steadily. This allows Kanga some time to get back.
Yeah, and honestly, this is even better than before because last time it was, at least a 30% lead over nothing. Now you're 45 to 21. You might be able to hit 60 before anybody gets there, but with Midnight available, Ancient Rage, as well as a Dome Shield, someone's getting to this objective before you hit 100.
Yeah, you mentioned the Midnight get used immediately. That falls over to kill him for Sheko. They're just going to have to try and focus Rhino down, but using Ancient Rage is going to force everyone that's around in that vicinity to pretty much back up off of the point, and now Barrick's there. He still has his Dome Shield. They've still got Barrage as well, both up from arrays, but he's still going to end up getting melted. And can we see the items again real quick? Because I have to ask you a question, Lord. They still have no Bulldozer. Why at this point in the game?
I think their focus, with the Cauterize, with the Wrecker now for Fish Echo, their focus has become dealing with Rhino, dealing with Joels. They've been focusing a lot on killing off Chronics. Nobody cares about Luna or Io as of right now. I still think it'd be nice to be able to go through. There's also going to be the merit, and this is something that we don't get too often, especially if this goes 3-3. Kanga now have 900 total credits in their economy per player than Virtus.Pro do because they've captured these objectives. Virtus.Pro are kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel, scraping the bottom of the barrel for anything and every item they can get. They haven't been able to get some tier 3s because they just can't afford it. Kanga, on the other hand, have turned this around because the economy is just flowing in their favor. They're winning the important fights, even though it's 3-2. They've gotten everything that's been able to kind of itemize them better.
They've just ended up getting pretty much wiped right there. They're forced all the way back to hold this bridge once again for quite possibly the third time in the third round. This is absolutely dominating for Kanga so far, but it's a matter of if they can still close it out, because of course VP could still end up winning. The game's not over yet. The Inflame's going to be popped at the very beginning just as they start to push up, but they just disengage. They just back off. They're able to get Joels. That's good, but still, as soon as they hear the Inflame, it's like Kanga are on point. They leave immediately.
I like the way Kanga play it, though, just because it is that timidness. This is the area to be timid. I call it no man's land because you walk out, and with the amount of hit scan or just an ability to burst you down in Willow that they have on the side of Virtus.Pro, it's really dangerous to be anywhere near that payload unless you are ready to full commit. But Kanga, 4 ults charged up, 1 almost there at 83% for the Ancient Rage. They take one slip and they should be able to push this through. That Midnight, to me, is showcasing that they want it.
They got rid of Pacheco. They already got rid of Erase as well. The Hexfire gets used, but the shield is just too healthy. He can't burn through all of that by himself. He has to back up, and I believe this might actually be it for Kanga Esports unless they get touch at the very last possible second, which I see is what Dosa's going to do, but he gets begone, but he's still in the range of the cart to be able to contest. It forced out the Faith Flight and the Buck Wild. They're going to be able to focus them down, burn them down, and Joel's going to get taken care of. The Divider ends up coming out as well. Even like trying to contest Pacheco in the sky once again, but a good air shot from him is going to still give VP a chance in life. And they have Inflame coming into this next round.
One more shot should be able to get rid of Rhino. They get rid of Gera. I think that gets rid of Kanga for this round. But like you said, they have Inflame coming into it. They used everything else, though, and that is going to maybe showcase what exactly Virtus.Pro are hinging and dependent on for this. Like, if they can come in, I anticipate a very, very early first win fight for Virtus.Pro in this round because, well, they have Inflame, and their draft is built to come in and kill you. Whether or not they're able to do anything with that afterward is kind of the biggest question. On equal footing, you have to win 2, and the second one's not going to have the Inflame. You have to look at some of the slash lines. 3 and 8, 3 and 9 for Vex and Cruncy respectively. It's just not where they need to be. I think Atlas needs to be bringing a little bit more. Granted, that 18 assists definitely looks really good for him, but he just, I think, needs to convert it a little more, maybe get a little bit more damage on the table as well.
Yeah, it's going to have to be, it all comes down to this, guys. 3-3. And this time, Kanga actually have no ultimates up, so that might be in the favor of VP already. They have the Divider that goes out, but the Inflame, you already see they're starting to flake around, trying to pincer these guys. Exile comes out, he gets Evil Eye, he gets Chronic to the quick flick shots. Immediately on the 3 different targets is going to allow them to have that setup, but Pacheco's going to go down. Joseph's going to clean it up, considering the fact that Chronic was already left low. Gera gets taken care of as well. Kanga don't have any ultimates to actually come back to try and fight them, and VP have a couple that are building up right now.
But again, it's been turning on its head every single time. First time, they get a lead off of that. Second time, they have a smaller lead off of that. This time, they just matched Kanga. Kanga were on the objective during that first portion of the fight. Now it's going to be 66-48, so they have control, but you got to win one more to make sure this game is yours.
Oh, they're all grouped up, though. The barrage actually comes out. He's going to try and look for anyone on the point, and Jones is going to try and make it back. Garrett actually gets 2. Chronix is already really low, but they're actually just getting annihilated right now on this point fight. 60%. Josephs can touch. He just got Hexifier, but I believe that's it. No one on VP's side can really make it back in time for that to matter when you've got a good zone like this on Kanga's front.
Just well played. I mean, that's all she wrote. And it comes down to, well, I think one thing and one thing alone. One team had an objective control. The other team didn't have as much coming through. I like the idea I think that Virtus.Pro were going forward with, and I like what they're playing with. I think the aggression, especially being able to push this to a 4-3, is really impressive.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's something that we've kind of seen explored by some other teams. We've also seen in other cases, you know, Na'Vi Renegades comes to my mind, where you can kill as much as you want. You can have great slash lines. You could have been winning almost every single one of those fights, but point control is the name of the game, and that's where you have to win it.
Yeah, I mean, Kanga just had an overall dominating composition. They had such strong objective control. VP ended up losing this one, but that's only the first game, guys. We can only see what happens in game 2 right after this break.
INAP, powering the control room for the Paladins Premier League.
I don't wanna play the quiet time when I'm near you. Reading old messages on my phone every time I see you. Tell me, is this part of an act just to keep your image intact? If you think that strategy's smart, I'm not gonna defend my beating heart. Defend my beating heart. You knocked on my window and slept on my pillow, then said you had found your place. Not sure if I want this. You don't think that I know it.
Color me surprised. Kanga take game number 1, what looked like against all odds. I mean, usually the zone on Frozen Guard is rock solid and nearly impossible to overcome, but Kresnik, it felt like all Kanga did was overcome the zone from Virtus.Pro, take back the objective somehow, and they're sitting with the dub.
I think that has to do with the fact that both their tanks don't really handle getting pushed that well. Atlas and Ruckus can't really withstand that pressure. Not only that, have Rhino running it down and finding a hook immediately. Master riding 3 straight in.
No
the first
kidding.
person overextended gets pulled and taken down. Pretty, honestly, even, I would say pretty close stats across the board. Kanga at least slightly edged out
Very
in the
much.
damage and everything department, but Kanga just won every single retake fight. VP
It's crazy.
couldn't do anything about it.
It felt like I was just watching the same thing happen over and over and over, and it's not as if Virtus.Pro don't have the tools to zone effectively. I mean, they have Ruckus, they have Buck, just being able to hit scan, tick away at people, get them off their horses. But Evil Eye and the boys of Kanga just kept on overcoming. 13-8 for the Mave there. Very solid performance for Evil Eye. We wanted to put him under the microscope a little bit today. Performance can sometimes be volatile, but the Mave so far today has been solid. I think Eevee is going to become another big factor in this set between him and Fasheko. And his Eevee can be a little bit hit or miss, so I'm looking for a big performance out of that today.
We've seen supreme carry performances from him. We've seen performances where I feel like team play around. I feel like we don't see any. I think if comparing it to yesterday, right? We saw a game where Random went like 7-14 on Eevee at some point, and like comparing that, I don't think we've seen performances like that from Evil Eye. But I think his star crazy performances are definitely less common than that would be otherwise.
It's been very related, I think, to just the way I feel Kanga are winning, right? When they do get that kind of dive, coordinated pressure, everyone is on the same page looking to get aggressive. Nobody's chilling really in the back line, except maybe Chronix, who's done his part already at that point to soften a target
Chronix
up.
does what Chronix wants, honestly. I feel like everyone else is playing the game, and he's like, "Oh, I'm Strix." Shoot,
Strix boys. Speaking of Strix, Frog Isle is, man, one of his best maps. I know he's picked basically everywhere, but the way Tenor was playing it yesterday here, even he commented on how he was feeling it. And some of those quick scopes, I think, were definitely backing up the talk. Incredible performance from the Ninjas in Pajamas sniper. I doubt we'll get to see it. It's such a popular ban.
Yeah.
And
There's no way
there
it's
it
gonna
goes. And
For
there
sure.
it goes. Not against Kanga, man. Not against Kanga.
Even against anybody, I think you would first pick it on this maps in particular. Are we going to see Makoa and Atlas getting through again? It's been 2 DPS bans so far. Kanga could ban one of them. Atlas is pretty powerful on this map, but...
Yeah. I mean, what were you frustrated by if you're VP last game? It doesn't feel like a character so much as just
the way they
what
played.
happened. Yeah, you know, the overall outcome was frustrating. Not any one particular character is easy to pin down as what pissed you off and what you want to ban for this game.
I don't think you focus on anything in particular on VP. Maybe the Makoa, just because I feel like it was really impactful from Rhino, the pressure he was getting with the hooks. I feel like he was connecting a lot of them, at least on those mid-fights when they really, really mattered. We'll have to see if VP decide to get rid of it, but
Interesting element of the point tank banned out. It's not a super common thing, but as second pick, you know, you ban an R, leave both power tanks open. It worked.
Then you get the
Obviously,
other
you
one
can
and the
say
point tank,
it
yeah.
worked out well for Kanga last game, duh. But I don't know. Do you feel like that's just an easy way to go here for the early stage of this draft?
Possibly, but we're going triple backline ban instead. It is a way to go, and I think it's really big on maps that have tough points to stay on, right? Because you need the point tanks kind of to be able to sustain. The other tanks will really struggle in that position. So you get Barrack, and then you pick Io, so they can't even have that supplemental point capture. So they just completely denied that and made it so they weren't getting capped during the mid-fight that they won, which made the retakes even easier for Kanga.
That's a big part that I think, you know, I didn't give enough credit to. I mean, Io and Luna being able to capture the objective so effectively, and Io being able to leave that capture point so effectively and continue to do what she does without missing a beat. Khan locked in for Virtus.Pro. Makoa still open, so Makoa is probably going to be locked in here as well. No quote-unquote point front line here for Virtus.Pro. They have two of the better pushing tanks in the game.
They could still go triple tank. That's a pretty
I
good
was going to
start
say,
for
yeah,
it.
Nara's still open. Ash is still open. There was a lot of stuff. Commented on Ninjas in Pajamas really being the only team whipping out triple tank XY, Tyra, Vivian, whatever it is, you know, very often, but definitely still feels like it's in the cards.
For sure, and I wouldn't be shocked to see it come out. Kanga respond with the Inara, have their point tank, one that's pretty good against Makoa, and
I will
also
fight to
Io.
protect the
Again,
sanctity
they're
of the
taking it
wild.
away. Not they, of course, they think it's good, right? They wouldn't
Yeah.
be picking it
Let's
if they
go,
didn't
Luna.
think it's good. But taking that away from a team that doesn't have a traditional point tank, again, limits that point capture they can get. Io is that filler for when you don't have a traditional point tank. Now they have a ton of sustain. They can buff the Atlas. An Atlas running 40% faster with 25% DR at you is not pleasant.
No.
Not on the receiving end for sure, especially when he's doing 900 damage per shot, and these players are connecting every part of those little sprays, right, when you do the uncharged left click.
What will VP go for? Still largely undecided. Could transition into a more standard, but yet still aggressive 2-tank, 2-back line. Triple tank is still absolutely available. Barrack, very popular for VP, for Dosip specifically. Plays the character very well. I was kind of surprised, frankly, to see Dosip's on the Ruckus and Crunchy there on the Atlas. I think,
Agreed.
you know, both those
Welcome to
characters
the
have a
main
similar
streets,
flavor.
kitten.
Fishy doesn't have something picked yet, and they're going to make damn sure he doesn't end up super comfortable here. No hit scan threat, so Drogos potentially here. Or Fasheko. Everything else is kind of banned or picked away.
They just grabbed the EV and May for him, so double flanker. I don't know if I like this, at least against the Atlas, especially now that Kanga can get that Drogos. If they had Drogos and played him on the danger control, I don't think Inara or Atlas would be able to
Ooh.
really get in. Barrack coming in now as
I
well.
like this pivot.
Potentially Victor as a last, because I feel like Victor is also very good against everybody that Kanga are bringing out right now. So they could
Yep.
bring him just to counterpick, or they could bring out a second healer, bring out like a Ferocity Grover or something to supplement the heals that Io might lack with double point tank.
Ooh, little Bomb King here potentially
okay.
for Kanga. Triple tank Bomb King. Bomb King tradition, kind of one of the more sustainy big boy backliners. Kind of get in there and mix it up with some of the best in the business.
I
will be.
really don't know about this.
Yeah, the range is one thing that definitely concerns me about Frog Isle. But, if everybody's going in, there's a nice big temporal divide to kind of keep you safe. It's definitely going to take some execution to pull off.
My question mark for sure is Bomb King versus Double Flanker. I feel like he really struggles against Maeve in particular because of the damage reduction. Maeve, played properly, should just win in that fight a lot of the time, especially since Maeve can just choose to disengage. BK doesn't really get that luxury. BK won't handle getting dove very well at all, I feel. He's good when he can get aggressive, but who is he pushing on VP?
The Leon ban here, do you think this double flanker plan was in place for VP heading into this draft?
I don't think so. I think they were doing it to be willing to flex to Drogos. They just felt like double flanker might have been the answer against those kind of stationary tanks.
Alrighty, guys. Game 2, unique drafts. Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it indeed. Already on Frog Isle, you've got the triple front line with the IO as well. I mean, that's... I really like Kanga's draft. I mean, I think it's hard not to. I feel like VP, once again, have drafted something that may not be as strong on the point that Kanga have right now.
The biggest thing for Kanga in their draft is kind of built to just sustain, like kind of essentially you move forward and you just never have to stop moving forward. You are very difficult to displace, especially with Barrick and Inara. You add Luna into the mix and all of a sudden they are able to get aggressive without standing on the point. You add in the 25% extra damage reduction, all of a sudden they are undying even more so than normal. And so it is a very solid draft for that. But it's very, very dependent on this Bomb King. And if he goes down too soon, that could make the big difference. And that's kind of what Kresnik was pointing out there on the desk. If you hear Eevee or Maeve get back there and kill him off, if you see that happen, it's definitely going to start kind of opening up the door for Virtus.Pro to move back in.
Well, Gara's already looking pretty low, but Joel's with the good shielding is actually going to make it a very, very huge opportunity for them to be able to at least try and fight. But 84% for Kanga already, I mean, that's absolutely huge. You see Pacheco try and go in, he gets rewound, and that leaves Arrays dead. Did he get knocked off and then pull? Somebody else was, okay, no, he didn't. He's still there. I just thought I saw the hook and then I saw him get knocked back. I thought he was going to be off the side, but it didn't matter. He's going to be in the grave at this point. Cruncy and Vex are going to go down. 96% for Kanga. Battle Shower as Dosum still gets stunned through it. And the overtime is there. I mean, Kanga once again showing that they have life in them, especially with a very dominating performance on the first point.
I mean, I don't know what it was that Kanga have done, but like there was a period of time. Well, I guess Evil Eye went and had a kit. That's that tends to help, I guess.
Power up.
He went through and that's really kind of that defining moment. I mean, there was that 1 week. He actually had told us, he came in quick and was just like, yeah, my wife's like in labor potentially, or like going to be soon. Like I'm tired because I was staying up all night for it. Comes in to play his games. They do really well there, and they've just been doing really well since. I honestly do think that has something to do with it. He's been way more zoned in, and his Bomb King is on point. But the team as a whole has kind of recommitted, doubled down in the last half of this phase. And for a team going into qualifiers, they are looking really solid so far.
1 minute and 40 seconds still available on the clock. Gara's going to go down, but it seemed like they have just not stopped pushing forward. Thankfully, Array's able to get 2 kills, which is going to be able to provide some sort of solace for Virtus.Pro to still try and push, still try and fight back. Vex gets a kill on Rhino, and then you have Array's clean up Chronic right after. He's just going to poppy bomb himself off the side just to die so he doesn't get player staggered. But they've got 5 ultimates up, and VP have 4. Ancient Rage almost there, but I mean, this is still looking good. I mean, Evil Eye's top damaging on this BK right now.
Honestly, if you're Virtus.Pro, I don't think you want to use any of your ults if you can afford it for this round. And you can. I mean, going down 2-0 on Frog Isle is not uncommon. It is a dangerous game to play. We've seen this map snowball into a 4-0 very fast several times. But with the right kind of order of things, you could just as easily clap that back and turn it into a 2-2.
Oh, nice hook already. Koa. But, I mean, Rhino's just going to walk right out of it. I mean, the Khan actually gets juked a little bit. He's going to go down. Dosups is gone. So is Pacheco. A double kill for Awesome Rhino. Now he's going to be looking in the back line. He already shot at Vex. He's going to get hit. Cruncy going to have to spin his way out. 30 seconds left. The clock is still ticking down, but the payload's still pushing in. and you got a 2-0 already for Kanga Esports.
And the only thing they use for that is the Be Gone. That is perfect for them, at least in most scenarios. Being able to keep it in control. This was a very solid set of plays. Almost the knockoff to get rid of that Makoa there. But then they just kind of lined up for him anyway, so it was exactly what you would have wanted if you're a Bomb King. And in my eyes, you don't necessarily need King Bomb, even though he has it. Like, it's going to be good for a confirm, but I don't expect to see Evil Eye start a fight off with it, right? I think they're going to pretty much play at the same pace if you're Kanga and try to deal with them the same way. But worry about the Inflame at the very beginning. It's going to be a threat, and it's going to cause some trouble. So don't play too hard into that.
Yeah, I mean, the bombs are, once again, by danger, just getting tossed out, finding its marks, but the Inflame, the King Bomb to try and cleanse it. He's looking for a target, and Array's already stunned. He's just going to get stunned once again and then blown up. Dosips is going to follow suit. So is Crunchy, and we already have a 3-man death on Virtus.Pro's side. Man, oh man, 36% for Kanga Esports and a zone, a very aggressive zone at that with somebody in Virtus.Pro's side. I think that's the Eevee all the way in the back line over there, just stuck in Kanga's spawn. Luna's still capping.
Well, Fasheko is in a good position to potentially get rid of Luna, or at least try to come back into it. A great exile. Rhino is just hitting these shots. It's the same thing we saw from Crunchy last time, but it's just so impeccable.
Fasheko is going to end up going down, but a good exile onto Dosips twice is going to make all the difference in Kanga Esports capping this point once again. 3-0, 3-0, 2 minutes and 20 seconds as well. I mean, it's so hard to really try and find a way to say what I haven't already said. I mean, they're doing great. I mean, 3-0 already against VP, somebody who was so dominant as the split went on. And then now all of a sudden Kanga are putting up such a fight that VP can't find any footing.
King Bomb charged back up, Be Gone about to be back up. If it goes on long enough, depending on the rest of this push, you might see a Seismic Crash and Dome Shield, but they might not need it with the amount of kills that they're getting still. Even though you trade out Evil Eye, you are in a great position to keep this payload moving forward. They might be able to close this out in 7.
Yeah, a double kill for Chronix. Now they're just looking at Dosips. His shield goes up. He has to pretty much stay right there. He's gonna have to use a second chance, or at least Atlas is, excuse me, to be able to rewind himself. The Inflame just to defend. The Be Gone gets brought out. No one gets hit by it, but Fasheko is still gonna go down. You got rid of him. Gera and Rhino are gonna go down. The Dome Shield gets dropped, but still, he poppy bombs himself in. Evil Eye looking for a stun. He's gonna find it. They might be able to find this last kill, and they do. That's going to net Kanga. Another win for them in the set.
So well played from them throughout that entire duration, and a lot of it, again, was kind of a, you have to displace us. You have to kill off us as tanks. You have to kill off Barrick, already difficult. Inara, already difficult. Add 25% damage reduction to what they already have on top of that. Very, very difficult task to do already. And that's just 3 champions. That's not even including the other 2 that are going to be into the equation. It's well played, well drafted from them. And I got to be honest, based on what we've been kind of seeing, you know, Virtus.Pro, they get a little bit of a break off and they come back in. I'm kind of getting some NIP vibes. They took a break and they came back. They were still a good team. They weren't anywhere near as dominant. Right now, Kanga are looking unstoppable.
They are indeed. 2-0 against Virtus.Pro. That is such an accomplishment already. The set's not over yet. A dominant triple frontline game as well. Right after this break, we'll still see if Kanga got more and more fight left in him.
Alienware, the official PC provider of the Paladins Premier League. A swift 4-0 there on Frog Isle for Kanga Esports. I have to say, I'm a little surprised the way that one goes, Kresnik. Not a lot on the line, not anything on the line for Kanga today. Not much on the line here for Virtus.Pro, but I still expected a little more life out of them.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I thought that I think they got a little overzealous in some of those fights, specifically the second mid when they used that midnight, and then they actually committed with it. Even into a temporal divide, into a king bomb that was waiting for them. Yeah, I guess Fish got in the back line. That was it.
Yeah.
That was about all they got from that midnight and dropping 4 players.
Tough stuff, man. I mean, Kanga triple frontline on Frog Isle is not something normally seen, but it is a snowbally type of map. Triple frontline is a more snowball style composition, right? You've got all this mitigation that doesn't fall off into the later stages of the game on a map that tends to be over quickly. You never get to the point where your characters are falling off. Joel, shout-outs to the damage he was able to bring 5-1. But a bigger shout-out to Chronix, 5-2 on Inara, something I never thought I would say. He's played a couple of different roles for Kanga over his career, but frontline, point frontliners, that's not one of them.
Well, what is it with direct damages and flexing to point tanks?
I don't know, man.
Tenor goes Barrett.
Weird.
Does
Weird.
insanely well. Chronix does really well on this at Nara as well. Clearly the being forced onto tanks and casuals has been paying off. And this was exactly the situation I was talking about. They midnight and they come into all those CC ultimates and they know they're there, but they just go anyway. I don't know if I like that decision.
Yeah, he was like kind of way disconnected. You're right. Fish, he made it to the back line. There was nobody there to dive though.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, I think it was a ballsy pivot in this draft, but once double flank got locked in, making that commitment to triple frontline for Kanga was smart, man. Flankers don't really do super well into a bunch of big, beefy frontlines, especially in the early game before COTS. It's awesome to see Chronix play the Inara, but ultimately that one being a little bit decided in the draft. Big shout out, of course, to Rhino's temporal divides. That is probably the most critical cooldown of the entire team fight, and I think he was splitting them well.
And I was originally kind of critical about the Evil Eye Bomb King just because I didn't think in the matchups between the DPSs it was going to be that good.
I think fair enough, though.
But triple tank means that he's never alone. He's never taking a 1v1 with a flanker. He always has someone peeling for him.
Yeah.
Whether it's an Atlas, whether it's a point tank. There's always someone there
Tell that to
supplementing
Bird.
him. Well, we tried to yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, they executed it well. In all honesty, right? Bomb King isn't really standard anywhere, right? But you have Evil Eye, you have Frog Isle, and you have this incredibly powerful cooldown to cut the map in half, providing a very effective safe haven. You've always got, you know, 2 walls to your back, one of them being that temporal divide, and then you've got a frontliner to kind of do the rest. And they were all very close together, man. You're right. You know, nobody was out of arm's reach of help or calling for a teammate, and that's a big part of it, man. That was over so fast. I don't really know that VP knew what to do.
It had to be over fast too. They had Io solo healing for 3 tanks, 2 point tanks that kind of require a lot of healing. So if that went to the late game, if the wrecker for Barrick got up and he didn't have his own self-sustain, I think that Io would have been strained. I don't know if they would have been able to keep it going had it gone long.
I don't really even know what I would have drafted different. I probably wouldn't have gone into double flank, right? But hindsight's 2020. I don't know what damage pick would have really saved Virtus.Pro from that fate.
I think Drogo's could have been good.
Yeah.
Drogo's against Inara Atlas sounds pretty good to me. Yeah, Atlas has that counter poke, right?
It's a race against time, no matter what you pick.
But Drogo's will slow the game down so much because you can't push me. I will just combustible you around the map. You have no response. Or I worm jets and I play super far out of reach. Your Bomb King and your 3 tanks won't be able to do anything to me.
Yeah, not a ton of range, not a ton of dive drafted there by Kanga Esports, but they still grab the W nonetheless. We want to try and look at what Virtus.Pro are drafting today because they do have a big game coming up later for them, and you don't want to get 4-0'd here. Again, it doesn't cost them anything, but I think it's all up here is what matters for Virtus.Pro in this set, right? You don't want to kind of leave sulking out of the booth after this one, getting 4-0'd against a qualifier team.
Yeah.
Granted, that happened to Envy yesterday, so if anything, that maybe evens the playing field, I think, mentality-wise. What Envy do we get coming into the building here today? Does that affect, I think, you know what I mean, setting expectations if Virtus.Pro gets stomped? It's kind of like Envy have a little bit more confidence in themselves, I think.
Well, think about Envy, right? How many times have they gotten annihilated on a Thursday and we're like,
Yeah.
here we go, the next day. And then the next day they show up. That happened earlier, right? Didn't they lose to VP when they had Hecate and Pule on a Thursday weeks ago or in Phase 1? And then the next day upset NIP for their first loss of the phase?
I think if anything, man, Envy are a team that know how to bounce back and be resilient, and they are playing Virtus.Pro later today, so Virtus.Pro have to have their resiliency tested as well. They're a relatively new team. I think the Envy story is built on that, third place, not quite the favorite, but still coming into these tournaments strong with a lot of willpower. That is something that is very critical in these types of situations, right? We're getting towards playoff season here, folks. World Championship just around the corner. You don't want to really bank too much on just your reputation, right? Things are going to go wrong. Upsets are going to happen. This is a big bracket with a lot of games to play. You have to feel very confident in your ability to bounce back and muscle through the tough times.
And thankfully for Kanga, they've had that. How often have they muscled back from different things, right?
Yeah.
Think about how many Game 7s they've been to. They have that endurance on lock compared to most of the teams.
Yeah, man. We're going to fix a couple of settings issues on our end, folks. We're going to throw it to a quick break, and we'll be right back with some more PPL action. Welcome back, everyone. Still working on getting these issues ironed out. Obviously, apologize for this. It's a 2-0 right now in favor of Kanga. This matchup doesn't mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of the standings shifting today, so we want to make sure that we take our time to maintain integrity of the match. We're going to throw it to another quick break and look to get these ironed out. Thanks for sticking with us. Welcome back, folks. We are good to go here. Virtus.Pro versus Kanga. Our first matchup of 3 best-of-7s today here in the final day of the Paladins Premier League for Phase 2. If you're just now joining us, Kanga Esports is up 2-0 over Virtus.Pro, and that's frankly a pretty surprising story, Kresnik. I think, you know, when you look at the standings, not only does that indicate Virtus.Pro would be winning this matchup, but if you look further in, the way Virtus.Pro have been playing in Phase 2, you're kind of ignoring their Phase 1 record. You can't, but if you did ignore their Phase 1 record, you would say Virtus.Pro is playing like one of the top teams in the league right now. To be down 2-0, cleanly 2-0 to Kanga, man, I don't know. It's very surprising.
Kanga, we've always said that Kanga is that team that can kind of take it to anybody, right? It doesn't matter who they're playing against. They will perform regardless in even matches. And it also goes into that story that everyone's been saying, that anybody can beat anybody in this league right now. Teams have kind of figured each other out. Teams have their own kryptonites, and maybe that's just what Kanga might be becoming for VP.
Well, the bands here getting underway for game number 3 on Jaguar Falls. Willow band out, Cassie band away. So far, very, very light on the tank bands today. Basically all DPS bans last time on Frog Isle. Very interesting note. I think Atlas and Makoa making it through in both of the first maps. It's just a different style here both these teams are going for. And very light on the balance changes this year, but I have to say, I mean, the meta's been evolving almost nonstop. Is it just a factor of these players getting better and doing whatever has to be done to win week to week?
I think it's that, plus the fact that everyone's here, right? Everyone's practicing more than they were before. Think about land meta, right? That was the thing we always discussed when we came into those. I'm not sure what's going on that.
Yeah, what is going on?
I looked at you. You were kind of staring him down.
He's just scared, rocking back and forth in the fetal position as Kangar completely flipping the script here today. Getting the job done against Virtus.Pro so far, so good. And there he is, the man himself. Some say he had to play on 240 hertz, and he just muscled his way through it. He didn't like it, but what are you gonna do? Some guys get all the luck, and Fasheko is not one of them. Here in the draft phase, two front lines actually being banned out now. Anara, it's kind of the same style they went for on Frozen Guard. I don't know if VP are gonna fall into that same trap, if you want to call it a trap, of picking Atlas.
Maybe they grab Makoa instead just because of how good Cassie is against it, and that is what they might potentially do if they do settle in, and they do. So they have it. They don't want to give that mostly uncountered Makoa, but now you're giving Rhino Atlas. Do you win either way?
Atlas Barrack, I think, is just going to be the call here for Kanga. They're not upset either way. They've done a very good job picking from the second position. Atlas, damn strong on just about every map. Cassie, I think, is the big talking point, though. She is banned out, so Makoa becomes a little bit stronger for it. Nobody else, except for Sky, if you want to risk that, quite deals with Makoa's huge HP pool. I think Atlas does okay in the matchup, to be completely honest with you. I've seen Phoenix handle a couple people on Atlas into Makoa matchups on this map in recent memory. I think Rhino's one of the best Atlases in the league, and frankly shouldn't have too much trouble dealing with it. Bomb King hovered early, man.
I don't think it's super early for this map, though. It is Jaguar Falls. It is one of BK's kind of premier maps. Grover also great on this map as well. Healing through walls, constant team sustain, not having to worry too much about that line of sight opens up a lot of options for your team as you go.
It might have taken all year long, but we're gonna get another fishy Bomb King game. Very excited to see this one pan out. Evil Eye played well on it on Frog Isle. So I have to imagine Fish is going to be able to pull off something special here on Jag Falls, a map traditionally accepted to be a bit better for Bomb King, if not his best map in my mind.
Yeah, I think so. It's definitely Jag and Ice up there for BK, and I think the play style will change that. And potentially another IO game coming out from Kanga. It's been working for them so far.
IO every game.
Don't fix what ain't broke.
Yeah, I guess not, man. They do have the point frontliner to kind of transition there when Luna is not able to do the dirty work. And the dirty bird is open. Strix being hovered currently.
A single breath
and locked in. Virtus.Pro. with Pacheco on likely Bomb King. Erase doesn't really play a lot of flankers. Flankers aren't super popular, period, on Jaguar Falls. So this Strix probably going to be a little bit uncontested.
63% win rate too, by the way.
Strix has?
Strix has a 63% win rate. That's kind of crazy. So much potential from that character when you hit every single shot. I don't know if I'm happy with this Nando pick if they lock it. I think it will struggle a lot against the IO in particular, because Luna can stun you through your Fernando shield. If you're not ready for that stun to come in, it will knock it down. And that's Nando's weakness, right? It's losing that shield after you use it. His sustain is on a pretty long cooldown that you have to deal with. Imagine if you stunned Atlas and his stasis field just went away. It's kind of similar in that sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Ashe is still open. Ruckus is still open. Ruckus and his Strix is something we talk a lot about being pretty damn successful. There's nothing on Kanga's lineup at the moment that just completely, well, that would have kind of changed my mind there if Drogoz does get locked in, but nothing too scary for Ruckus to have dealt with in that first 4 picks. Except for, I guess, the Strix damage, but if he's picked there to counter it out, I don't know. It's this composition's feeling a tad disconnected here for VP. I feel like Makoa Bomb King want to go in. Shaolin wants to sit back. Grover wants to kind of sit back, and Fernando's going to do whatever the hell he can to keep up.
I kind of feel almost the same about Kanga's, though, because I feel like Atlas kind of wants a grounded person to go with him to use that Beyond the Veil speed boost. Drogoz won't really be doing that unless Strix pushes with him, in which case that is kind of scary, but that is also all line of sight. Yeah. Nothing indirect, no AoE, so they have to focus on the same target if that happens.
I think that's fair to say, where Kanga looked like they might be a little bit stronger holding it down, playing a bit passive. And they haven't won a lot of games playing passive. They've really, really, I think, defined themselves as a team that wants to get in your face, make you uncomfortable, and snowball you out of the building. Let's see if they can do just that here in Game 3. Let's head it down to the casters.
IO once again for Kanga Esports. And they also get Atlas again. Just like what happened last game. Do you just let them get Atlas once again? Because VP were first pick. Why not prioritize that? Why go Makoa when Atlas can make it really, really hard for Makoa to do what he needs to?
I think it's that kind of in-between where both fight each other at a great distance? No, not even distance isn't the right word. They will fight each other at an equal fortitude, where Atlas has a little bit of an advantage over him, but I think in the right hands, Makoa is going to look a little better. They've tried taking the Atlas over the Makoa. It didn't work for them, so they're going to try and flip the script on it this time around and see whether or not it can work for them. They're going to keep trying it, I guess, as much as they need to. But the problem is I'm going to steal a word from Nick here, and that is that it just feels disconnected. Not just the draft, but pretty much all day from Virtus.Pro. Hasn't quite felt like they're all on the same page.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then Kanga potentially are looking to put themselves up 3-0 with another draft that just is really good at point control.
Yeah, very, very wise words. I mean, 24% for Kanga. They're steadily building. Everyone's finding shots. Everyone's getting hit. Everyone's getting their damage. But the percentage is still in Kanga's favor. I mean, you throw out the divider, Luna just keeps getting flopped right on point, and Erase is immediately going to get picked off. He just dies, just being in a bad spot, and Evil Eye is able to take advantage of that so well. I mean, they are just controlling the space how you would expect them to. 30% though for VP. They get Pacheco. Krutzy gets a hook onto Evil Eye. We're trading out for multiple people at this point, but 2 people are gone from either person's team now. Krutzy is going to be the one that's going to break that 2-2 death, the 2-2 death ratio, and now just make it 3-2 with Kanga's members just respawning.
And honestly, if you're going even here for Virtus.Pro, it's not good for you. I mean, look at that. That entire fight, you have 5 men strong for Kanga coming into the sides, dealing damage. And you might look at Io, who actually is beating out the Strix, beating out the Grover and the Makoa in terms of damage right now. And that is impressive in and of itself. But Gara's able to be a part of this fight. Gara's able to come in and be more damage that you're going to take. Yeah, at the end of the day, 7,500 compared to the 17,000 that Drogoz has put up is not that big, but that's 7,500 that you wouldn't have taken otherwise. That is 7,500 in this fight that this support is able to apply while getting point capture. Because of that, Kanga are able to distinctly and utterly control the objective. It's the one thing Virtus.Pro just don't seem to have figured out.
Not indeed. I mean, a minute 40. The hook goes out, but the divider gets placed down. And now Joe's just standing up here. He's got Dome Shield. They've got their ultimates. They've got 4 of them. And Cruncy, without even the use of any of them, is going to go down, followed by Pacheco. And now they're swapping targets. Now they're just looking at the Fernando. They want to burn him. Doseps might end up going down, and he is. And that's going to make it a 2-0 for Kanga. Why not get rid of the IO? They've been getting a lot of value out of this, I feel like, personally. Why not ban it?
I think it's the showcase. There's just too much that's valuable right now. I mean, you have one team, like, I mean, Atlas and Makoa are in this game. Strix is in this game. That means, along with Willow, there are 3 other champions that were worth banning over what people would argue are the top 3. Granted, Strix, Jag Falls, they don't mesh as well as they do on other maps, so yeah, it makes sense for that one to maybe fall through and be picked up, but obviously it works out really well, and I distinctly remember a day for Kanga where they just let Chronix get Strix, 4 games in a row, 5 games in a row, and every single one of them, Chronix was doing well because he not only knows this champion very well, but Strix is really good. He hits all of the notes that Chronix is going to be able to need to play the way he wants to. And Doseps, this time around, much like last map, did go into this Bulldozer to try and help deal with the IO. But the problem is there's just so much more going wrong for them than just that.
Oh, man. I mean, the Dome Shield gets dropped. Cruncy goes down. You hear the King Bomb coming out for Pacheco to try and do something, but it immediately just gets popped, really. The Immortal is there, too, to, I guess, try and save anyone else it is that was already low, but VP haven't really used much of anything other than the Dome Shield. They used the Be Gone as well, but, I mean, they are still in control, 60%, and Luna, like the good girl she is, has just been sitting on point these past several games.
Yeah, this is nothing more than just control. There's, like, I keep saying the word. I've said it probably more times in this one set than I think I've said in any other set combination day, maybe even, where it's just, this is exactly what it is. They just own the objective. They bought it, they paid for it, they're not selling it back, and at 99-7, there's nothing VP can do about it.
Absolutely nothing. I mean, Kanga, dude. I mean, 3-0. A good direct rocket shot, too, running the fuselage, just keeping that burst damage available. I mean, it is so, I guess, poignant. I don't like how that sounds, but I know it's a word, but it's so poignant with them that it is. I'm really at a loss for words. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, like, literally, what do you say? I mean, Kanga are up 3-0 once again, proving their own against VP. That is not easy.
This is what I can say. 13 streak, 14 streak, 12 streak, 11 streak.
There you
That's
go.
4 out of 5 members there of Kanga. The other guy isn't quite on a streak yet because he's the only one who has been in the line of duty that has fallen for them. It is very, well, here it is again, ring a bell. Controlling from Kanga. They are commanding this lead. And the one thing, I've been making this joke. I made it to you. I made it to Lazy at one point when he came out of their player booth while they've been warming up for their set in the second one of the day. And it is that the Kanga have, you know, the patented Kanga choke, right?
Yeah.
They go up 2-1, they go up 2, they lose 1, they go up 3-1, and then they lose the set. If they go up 3-0 here, that's bad news bears for VP.
Yeah, I mean, you have a situation where you have not stopped momentum at all from Kanga. 3-0 against Virtus.Pro, that is not only convincing, but that is definitely something to be on the lookout for. I mean, Kanga, once again, I mean, it is true, the patented Kanga choke, but with them being up 3-0, I mean, that is something, that is a story in its own right.
Yeah. And honestly, now what I'm looking at is not only Kanga doing incredibly well, which is impressive for them. I mean, that was a very commanding Jag Falls. But you also have to look at something, and this kind of relates to what I was saying earlier. Virtus.Pro, I'm getting some NIP flashbacks. You take a little bit of a break, you come back, you're not as strong. Maybe the drive isn't there, maybe the grind wasn't there. I don't know what happened in the break, but something's not connecting anymore. And now you have to look at it, and a lot of teams have been throwing this out in their interviews and their conversation. But did they peak too soon? Because now we're coming up to qualifiers, and this is not a look you want to have on the last day of the regular season.
Not at all. I mean, Kanga Esports 3-0 against Virtus.Pro. Can Virtus.Pro actually end up fighting back, or will they crash and burn? Find out after this break.
The Paladins Premier League is brought to you by Evil Mojo, developers of Paladins. Welcome back, guys. The Kanga campaign continues here. 3-0 over Virtus.Pro. These reverse sweeps are not likely here, and Virtus.Pro have kind of lost the momentum in landslide fashion. Because like, I don't really even know much what to say at this point. It doesn't feel like they're getting hard out drafted. Definitely haven't been my favorite drafts of the phase, but certainly not to the point of Kanga 4-0ing them twice in a row.
I mean, they just picked some unique stuff there. They had Shaw, they had BK, they had Nando, and I really wasn't thinking highly of the Nando going into that game. Again, I don't think it's the best pick against Luna. You just get stunned through the shield. You can't contest on the point whatsoever if she's there as well, and most of the time, she's going to be to let the rest of the team stay aggressive.
It's tough stuff, man. Again, not a lot to lose here for Virtus.Pro, so I would just hope that they don't get too tilted by this. You know, if they can maybe grab a single map here against Kanga. It wouldn't be Kanga if they didn't fail to close out a set. So I think this is somewhat par for the course, right? Whoever it is, Kanga start out strong. Game 7 is a long shot. Like I said, these reverse sweeps are extremely uncommon at this point. Kanga just need to grab one more map. It will be Virtus.Pro's map selection, though, whatever they want to go to. That's been all day, though. It hasn't really seemed to matter much.
Yeah, I mean, even they won VP's map twice in a row, more or less. Kanga, the first map was VP's pick, Frozen Guard. They won that, and then double 4-0s in a row on their map and the other. See how Kanga can keep it going. But Evil Eye, I think, on that last map in particular, I think the two standouts for me were Rhino and Evil Eye. Fusillade coming out from Evil Eye B, having those flanks around the outside. He was constantly playing off the edge of the falls on those mid fights, hitting all these directs on them. They could not keep up. Fusillade's so lethal if you connect the directs, and when you hit him, it works.
Not running Deja Vu either. Usually, I think the more popular selection on Jaguar Falls, because it's kind of tight, right? You don't need that huge temporal divide. Maybe because they're running this Fusillade, they're running this Strix. Characters that need a little bit more safety, I think, to move around the map and operate effectively. Seems like it was the right choice. Obviously, they got the dub, but that amount of safety, I think, again, Rhino, one of the best Atlases in the league, so having the kind of brain to be able to slice the map up and use your angles and give your guys who are slow, right? Strix and Fusillade Drogos are very slow but very, very lethal characters. So if you can safely get them to where they need to be, they'll take care of the rest.
Maybe is it all potentially like VP counter picks? Temporal Divide is great against aggression, right? You split a team in half. Fusillade, also great against aggression because they're coming into you. Those directs are going to be easier to hit. Io, you cap while they push you. That's all stuff that I feel like does fantastic against teams that just want to go in, and that's what I feel like VP is. Maybe all this is kind of just on the talent picks and all that. We're part of just dealing with that aggression that VP were trying to bring.
If it is, I think that's a great look for Kanga, right? They've been a team, at least in my mind, that has been really only successful around that aggression and hasn't shown a great ability to be able to play a little bit more defensive, to be able to put the gloves up and counterpunch effectively. And I think that's this is a really good example of them doing that. Kanga Esports have just now shown us that they can run a couple of different styles and still be successful. Funny that no matter what, IO seems pretty core to that success, and they were one of the few teams, if not the only team, to really make that champion a mainstay. Vex can definitely play it, right? Some hot plays from Mr. Hayes on the IO, but nobody is running it as often as Kanga Esports.
And Kanga just figured it out. I think it just fits their style so well because it lets you be flexible. Having Luna on the point doesn't necessarily mean you have to int. It just means that you have that extra presence for when you want to kite around, you know? It's not necessarily that immediate go button. It's just guaranteed cap time, so you don't have to think about the point.
Yeah, so a lot of fun stuff, I think, around the ultimate as well. Min-maxing Luna and just understanding all of the little nuances of that mechanic because it is extremely unique specifically to that character. There's nothing else even close to something like Luna in the game in terms of you're micromanaging it. It's positioning, you're micromanaging who you're shooting to know like who you want to stun, all that sort of stuff. Capping it, you can heal it, you can move Luna, like so much goes into that. So I think putting the time and the hours is something that, you know, maybe not everyone has done at this level of play. And right now I think Gara is just reaping the rewards.
Speaking of how IO has a bunch of things that you've never seen before, shout outs to the programming team for making it all function. And not making it so Ying Illusions cap the point or something as soon as that came out.
Yeah, man. It's definitely a marvel what they were able to accomplish, I think IO being one of the smoothest releases in my recent memory, right?
Yeah.
Nothing really majorly wrong. Frankly, kind of the same deal with Atlas. I don't really remember any issues with him either. Both of them sporting a lot of very unique new mechanics. And Rom certainly, I think, is going to make a huge splash in the competitive scene. Worth talking about, though, I think Rom is not going to be played at HRX. We are playing on the patch that will be played at the World Championship. So everything's going to be pretty stable going in to the World Championship event.
Yeah, and we'll probably won't see Rom until sometime next year, I'm assuming.
But once the gates are open, man, we're gonna see
we're
him.
gonna see him plenty.
Straight in the
for
ban
sure.
column, idiot. Later.
Yeah, we're gonna see his face. Are we gonna see his 3D model?
Oh man, I hope so. I hope so
too.
You know,
I
there's
think
always
it could be
that
fun.
knee-jerk reaction to new things. You know, his health bar, it's a big number, bigger than we've ever seen before. He spews out a lot of numbers with his minigun as well. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that is very scary. Do apologize, though, guys. Those issues have resurfaced for us, so we're going to take a quick little break here and hopefully squash them for good. Poof, surprise. We're back a little bit early, and I think you guys are going to be happy about it. It's just good news. We're all good to go. We're ready to get into this potentially fourth and final game here, Kresnik, between Kanga and Virtus.Pro. If you're just now joining us, welcome on in. Kanga are up 3-0. If you stuck with us through all the issues, definitely thanks for sticking around. We've got a lot of good action here for today, a lot of sets that are going to mean a lot in the standings coming up in the 2 and the 3 slot here today. Of course, here are the maps for the rest of what this set is going to look like here. Stone Keep is up next, 5, 6, and 7, only if necessary. Kanga got to close this one out. They got nothing but momentum right now. 8 straight points in the last 2 maps. Virtus.Pro I don't know how much this is the conversation that you brought up, honestly. Like, being down 3-0 now, this doesn't mean anything. How hard are they going to sweat for this one?
I don't know, because honestly, going down 0-4 immediately, that might be better for your last set of the day, right? No expectations. You're like, well, we sucked today.
Yeah.
And then you're not even thinking super pressured about the next set, right? Or at least you're not going to a grueling 7-game set and then going, wow, that was a great game, guys. Let's do it again.
Yeah, I think that's it's all valid here. And of course, I'm a competitor. I want to see these guys give it their all, but I think there is definitely a question of resource management if you're looking at your mental fortitude here for VP. They got a long day ahead of them, and this is not the hill to die on per se. Khan is going to be the first pick here. Makoa banned out, Willow banned out, Cassie gone again. Atlas takes a seat. This is a much more standard ban phase.
Ghost Feather reporting.
Or I think what we've been used to seeing here towards the tail end of Phase 2. In response to the con, Kanga will lock Strix and Barrack.
Not too surprising, Barrack's been pretty good for them, I think, so far throughout the set. VP, I kind of want them to take Io here. Because I think we all know Io's coming.
Oh, yeah.
In the next 2 for Kanga if it's not taken away. How highly do VP prioritize getting it from them? It's gotten them 3 wins straight on Kanga's side, so hopefully pretty highly, but we'll see where they decide to go with it. Strix also had ending in Chronix's hand, something I'm sure Kanga are very happy about. So much damage that character does, 63% win rate, and climbing, I think, almost every single time we see him being played. What could VP's response be? If they want to stay flexible, I think you take Io and Nara here. You take your point tank, you take your support,
yeah.
And then you can flex both your DPSs at the end. They're going to take her over. They're going to give Kanga Io again. They don't think it's the problem.
And are unwanted, stranger.
It might be, honestly.
Could be, man. Nobody's really addressed that elephant or fox in the room. What she brings to the table is unlike any other support. Pocket to the level of Saris, if not more, when you factor in the damage reduction and the speed. It's a little bit of Maldamba's flavor to a little bit of Saris's flavor. Nobody else really brings that hefty amount of damage reduction. The damage reduction comes from a talent, so it's going to be much more hefty than something that would be sourced from a loadout card or something of the like. But Kanga might be switching it up for the first time today here in the support category. Hovering the Genos at the moment. A little bit of bonus damage action for them. And it will indeed. Why do you think the switch?
I think maybe the damage boost just to overwhelm the healing that the Grover's bringing out, possibly. They think they'll play outside with the composition that they have, so they're not concerned about getting constant point cap, because that's where they're going to put Joel's anyway. On that objective, contesting, doing damage. Having more will just be a cherry on top for that for sure. And also be able to burn through that Grover. The dive potential now is a little bit higher, especially if they end up with an Ashe or a Ruckus in the off-tank position. Having that aggression with that damage boost on top of it will make that dive end even faster.
Double backline here for Virtus.Pro, Shaolin, and I guess Bomb King locked in. The Council of the Draft here for Virtus.Pro. Kind of smiling, laughing this one off. Again, they're down 3-0, but this match doesn't mean a lot for them in terms of standings. They have to beat Envy no matter what happens, no matter the outcome, even if it gets as bad as it could, which, frankly, it looks like it might, Kresnik. This is a 3-0 for Kanga. This is good for Kanga and not that bad for Virtus.Pro, so I guess you could call it a win-win, right? There's no real damage Kanga can do here to the standings for Virtus.Pro, and they get that feels good win. We just beat Virtus.Pro. Not only did we beat them, we started strong and we finished strong.
And that's a look from Kanga we really haven't seen, and that's something that we're going to need to see if they want to push through those qualifiers and take down all those teams in that bracket, or at least get a good seed at the end of the day in it.
Do you like this draft from them? I mean, this is a
Kanga?
bit of a switch up from them. First time we're seeing Ashe in this set as well.
Yeah, I think I do like it. I like the dive potential, especially against that BK and that Grover. I think that could overwhelm a VP pretty quickly.
A couple of different styles, different draft picks as well. Kanga have shown us a lot today, but can they close it out? Let's head down to Stone Keep and find out.
That is indeed the question, my friend. Can Kanga Esports close this out? 3-0 against Virtus.Pro. They've got a good draft, but I think VP have one too. I mean, I jokingly said it, but still, they finally have somebody that can actually sit on the point. They've got the Anar. They've got a point tank, which is something that I feel like has been a detriment to their team for these past few games.
They've got a good win rate with Inara as well, one of Dose's best champions that comes out of it. The biggest thing going against them will be the fact that Kanga are up, well, 3-0. And not only that, but they're going to be riding that high. This could be the last game of the season for Kanga before qualifiers. Eyes, for me, going to be on Chronix, comfortable on this Strix. Evil Eye, more than comfortable on this Mave. Those two, with a Luminary boost behind them, means trouble.
Yeah, I agree with that. With the chicken hat on, I'm going to see what Chronix has in store for us. Misses the very first shot. That's okay. There's still plenty more to ring true. Speaking of that, he's going to be able to hit that Grover. And the pressure is already starting. Now Virtus.Pro, the ones in control of the point. Fasheko putting on the pressure. Joseph stands on. They got 24% to 9. And Barrick has to skedaddle his way out of there. Make sure he does not get caught out. And 30% for VP. I mean, the percentage is only growing for them already.
And it's just barely growing, though. That's the biggest thing, is they've got that nice lead, but you can see Joel's just takes a couple steps to the left. All of a sudden, he's going to be able to match. It's going to be a long one, I think, for this first fight.
Ooh.
Finally, first blood going to come through. Chronix has had Fish Echo's number, and that one finally seals the deal.
Yeah, you got Chronix on this Strix, just like you were saying. It is a problem. A good headshot. Tried to bank the flare off of the back, see if he could get Grover, but it did not work out the way he had planned. Still, 72% for Kanga Esports. A good boot back against Doseps. And you already got 90% for him. He's able to step on point now, but you got 96 already. And now you have Chronix once again still in the backline. Flashbang goes out. And the Whirlwind comes through just to keep everybody alive, but Vex is looking low. They're going to be able to converge on him, get that kill, and now they're forcing everybody that's in church to pretty much play as passively as they can. The Midnight comes through. They got rid of Doseps as well. Now everyone's looking low. They're applying pressure into the keep, and Fasheko is going to go down.
You know what? I'll forgive the 3 sets of daggers he missed prior to that, just because the Midnight was really good, and the collapse from the team was really good. Really good fight back from them. Really well played by Kanga. Just displacing Doseps, making sure he couldn't stay on the objective. Getting a good angle. I mean, Chronix didn't play from what I would argue is the sniper's nest on this map. He moved and got aggressive with it. Because of that, was able to not only find that first blood, but follow up good damage onto the support, onto the Shaolin as well, and keep them kind of locked away.
Yeah, I mean, Fasheko is going to be taken care of. A good flashbang that hits 2, and a good cleanup that leaves 2 dead.
Jeez.
Vex has to find grip his way out, but Doseps is going to try and sit on point, try and keep him from pushing in the payload as much as they can, but he's still going to get knocked back as soon as that DR is done. The Earthen Guard is gone. They've got to assert dominance through time and space and Dome Shield. VP, on the other hand, have the King Bomb. They use the Overpower, and they have Whirlwind and Heat Haze and Seismic Crash still up and available.
I don't know what they ate this morning, but they need to make note of it and eat it every single day of the qualifiers. This is looking like a different Kanga right now. Poor Fish Echo. I mean, he started off with a pretty solid game, although even on Jack Falls, his Bomb King wasn't hitting quite the mark he wanted. It's not until just now that it feels like Virtus.Pro have gotten anything, and even then, it's just an even trade.
Yeah, I mean, Crunch is just getting shot up right now, but I mean, they were winning the fight. Joel's is actually still alive. So is Rhino. They're going to back up. They don't have any of their teammates there, but they just ended up making it back. And the bombs are coming through for Fasheko. You got a minute still left on the clock. You still got 4 ultimates up, almost a 5th one on Kanga's side. Well, you got 4 ultimates up on VP side, almost a 4th one on Kanga's side. And it's about even, but the Midnight's going to be how they start things off. Daggers come through. They just keep on flowing, and they're going to be able to find that consistent flow of damage and leave Fasheko dead, followed by a raise. Crunchy drops down only to be met with a bullet from Joel's, and now he switches to Doseps for a nice double kill. Vex is stuck in his base, and 30 seconds left for Kanga to be able to push this in.
And about 10, maybe 15 feet as they walk this one in. A good zone coming out from Rhino. They're looking to close this one out with no contest from Virtus.Pro. And well played overall. I mean, Kanga, that was synchronized in the way that they got aggressive there. Very beautiful Paladins. That's just being played by them right now. There's no other way to truly describe it for me. And, you know, earlier I harped on Fasheko a little bit, gave him a little trouble for missing some daggers. He had a sequence in that last fight more than made up for it. And, of course, if you need to look at anyone that's more than making up for anything, 6-0-6, a 12 streak for Joel's, 4-0-6, a 10 streak for Rhino. Very prominent in the top 4 of the damage charts for their team as well, and for the game. So very impressive from the tanks over here. Unfortunately for Fasheko, I believe I saw 0 and 5 there for him. Not the cleanest look for the Bomb King.
Yeah, 2-0 for Kanga Esports, man. 5 minutes, 25 seconds overall in game time. And the planted is how things are going to start off, along with a good shot from Chronix, who's going to leave Pacheco looking a little bit dead more than anything, but he's going to be able to be healed back up before he gets finished off. And they've got 35% on the point. VP does. They've got the comeback mechanic, but that's how things start off last time. I don't think the story's going to be the same, especially when you got Rhino flaking around on the Pacheco in the back line. He's just firing freely. Gets those shots. Chronix gets the kill, and a flashbang actually groups up and forces the Rays to stop planning. A lot of them are blind in that room right there.
And it's going to be good damage from the rest. Overpower going to come through, connects, and looks like it will find a kill, but it's only going to be one thing. You get rid of Evil Eye, you get rid of Rhino, you give yourself some room to move back into the objective. With comeback mechanic and 66% already grabbed up, Virtus.Pro might be able to finish out here. There's just enough members of Kanga that they should be able to get touch and force overtime.
Chronic is able to continually hit those shots with Luminary. A good headshot will leave 1980, but he has to get the point. Joel's just misses it barely. Seismic crash to try and zone, but he didn't even really need to. All he did was confirm the kill that Joel's was given to him. Rhino is going to get rid of Cruncy, so we're looking at a 1-for-1 trade, but you got Midnight and you got the Assert Dominance through time and space, and Flashbang are building up in the works, but you got 2 minutes and 10 seconds left, and Virtus.Pro captured their first point.
Say, if you're a Virtus.Pro fan, you are letting out a sigh of relief right now with that point coming through the way it did. It was, I want to say, a hair away from being another Kanga point. Well, it doesn't, at least as of this point, 1 minute, 55 seconds left, look like it's going to get very far. A nice shot from Gara gets rid of Vex. The rest of the team is going to be under lock. This is looking like kills, kills, kills for Kanga as they're trying to find themselves their third point in the game. If they get aggressive with this zone, it's going to need a lot from Virtus.Pro to break through. Could be a good King Bomb.
Very, very well could be. Same thing can be said for the Assert Dominance and the Dome Shield too, that they have already ready for them. The matter is how they choose to use it and what application or situation they choose to use it in. You got a minute 20 still left, so you still got some time, but Rhino's just going to charge right in there, force Pacheco out, force him to use the Grumpy Bomb as well. And they're just going to keep on pushing forward. Joel's met Pacheco, but he's going to go down. He did a little bit too much damage, but you got a minute and 5 left. A good direct hit on the Chronix. The bomb detonates it, and he's going to go down still. I mean, VP are holding on strong as well as being able to finally make it back to the payload and continue their aggression.
And just being able to finally come through. 54 seconds left when they started the push. They haven't even hit the toughest part, the choke point in the archway here to the left of Pacheco if you're watching. It's going to be very difficult to break through. It is already hard when you have this much pressure on you, but with Maeve kind of causing a distraction in the back line, it kind of pincers you into a good line of sight for the Strix and the Barrack and the Ashe. So any sort of cluster groupage is going to be detrimental to Virtus.Pro. And that knockback, almost enough to get rid of Khan, but they're keeping them corralled and separated.
That's for sure. Vex and Pacheco getting 2 kills. Pacheco with his own 2 killer, but it's going to be a double. Dosips is going to be able to finish that off, and Chronix is one of the only ones that's left in spawn at this point. They are just keeping him pinned in there with 5 seconds left. I mean, they have their opportunity to come back to point and try and make it work for him. But Chronix going to have to go immediately back. He flash points just directly, flashbang, sorry, directly down. He's going to be able to get Pacheco, but you're still losing 2 of your members. Chronix and Evil Eye are done. And the rest of Kanga Esports are trying to sit on point and try and stall out for as long as they can, get some kills, but it's already still looking rough for them.
Try to stall out as long as they can, but not die. Don't use an ult in the process. Jules goes down. That's going to start causing a lot of trouble. VP is regrouped. Kanga has it.
Yeah, they do indeed. 2-2, man. I mean, 4 ultimates to 5. Kanga Esports 4 ultimates to Virtus.Pro's 5 ultimates. I mean, they are... VP seem like they're waking up. It seems like they're finding their opportunity to be able to fight back. Whatever it was that worked that round, they need to find that, or at least continue to find that and harvest it and try and win this game for them.
Point spawning in 15 seconds.
Like you said, 5 ults available for them. If they can find that essence, then it's going to look pretty good for them. Any team can win from this point forward.
3, 2,
If Virtus.Pro win, we'll get back into the comments about the patented Kanga throw as to whether or not they can truly win this set. If they can grab this point, which admittedly on equal footing they've had a much better time of, it's going to look good for them. The Dome Shield's already dropped down just to try and keep Joel's alive, keep him in the fight. A lot of aggression early on.
missed the overpower. Midnight comes through time and space as well, but it's going to go wide too. The King Bomb gets used, blows up against the wall. The Assert Dom is going to be good though. He's already in the middle of 4 of them, able to put on so much pressure, but steps out of the Assert Dominance range, and they wall him off from it. He's going to be able to at least stay on the edge, but Fasheko's keeping Evil Eye pinned in the back. Chronix actually gets hit with a bomb as well. There's so many ultimates that are flying true, but still, VP looks like they're going to be the ones that are still coming out on top of this situation, but Joel's is at least able to even things up.
So far, 1 for 1. You have Vex incredibly low. No one's been able to lock him down just yet. And with the 2 tanks still alive here, it's looking good for Virtus.Pro to keep getting aggressive, cause some low health bars for Kanga, zone him out. But it is 57% to 6 now in favor of Kanga as Virtus.Pro move themselves onto the objective.
Oh, nice. Array is going to get taken care of. Joel's is just sitting in church, trying to throw out some, well, trying to fire some bullets. Evil Eye's the one throwing out some daggers, trying to support him in whatever way he can. Dosum is still getting hit. Midnight gets run true again. There's so many Midnights this game. Daggers keep coming out, but Evil Eye's actually committed to the situation. The overpower goes through. They get Chronix, but look at the percentage on the point. 93%. And still climbing. They're able to void grip Anara off of the point. And you have a 3-2 with a 1-1 trade to open up the fight. Make that a 2-0 trade for Kanga Esports. 2 minutes, 20 seconds left as they just captured it. And Kanga are looking like they could close this out.
I mean, that was gorgeous. Again, everything about the last little bit of play. Gara, I would argue MVP, just being able to get the right CC on the right target at the right time to make sure no one gets the touch. And allows Kanga to kind of seal the deal, even though all members of Virtus.Pro were still alive going into that. And then just systematic elimination. This is the first target. Bomb King goes down. Then it's Grover. Then it's Khan. Then it's Shotland. Like, it's just a checklist for him. And that is another great lineup for Gara. Not going to find any kills, but get some good damage.
Oh, the Dope Shield gets dropped, but was it a little bit too late? No, not with Chronix is at your back. The life assurance policy in the form of a sniper is going to get a triple. He's looking at a 4th one. It's going to be a quadra. The man himself. Will it be a penta? It's not Gara. He looks over at him. He knows that he took it from him. But Chronix, man, oh man, good sniper shots are going to be enough for Kanga to not only find their kills, but find their way into a potential 4-0.
I don't know if we're allowed to, but we should find Gara.
Yeah.
That is the second time. We keep seeing these support players out here, Bert and Gara, these EU support players, keep stealing pentas from their carries all year. Either way, it's going to be looking good. Chronix is the man, the myth, the legend when it comes to Strix. There's a reason that it is something you need to ban against Kanga. And as of right now, it's a 6th streak that is burning for him. A little bit of a hiatus from the push as Kanga gets stalled out. Virtus.Pro full strength back at it, a little bit less health. There's going to be the Midnight. They're trying to open the door. They're going back in.
The Grumpy Bomb is going to be used. Stuns Rhino for just a little bit. But they look at the raise. Joe's is going to go down, but Chronix is still in the back line. Evil Eye with his own double. He wants to pop off too. He's looking at Crunchy, but he's still going to be able to live in this situation with 30 seconds left. The Poppy Bomb into King Bomb just to run down Gara. He's going to find the stun and the kill. VP are holding on with a thread of life. 20 seconds left, and Kanga Esports can still try and touch. But the matter is, will they?
Going to be a lot of pressure. Chronix right now, 8 streak, and he's getting a lot of headshots, but none of them are finding kills just yet. They need to be able to convert these, or else they're not going to be able to open the door. Full health for Fasheco, full health for everybody, essentially, on Virtus.Pro, as ults are starting to come back online. Overpower going to be up soon. Whirlwind up now. Heat Haze coming up as well. All good for a defense.
They are going to go down, though. Joel's gets taken care of. So does Evil Eye. And you've got the Whirlwind, you've got the Overpower, you've got the Heat Haze as well. Meanwhile, Kanga, through time and space, they don't have a Midnight. Flashbang is steadily building up. It's at 92%. So they have their chances of being able to fight back, but it all comes down to this at the end of the day.
One push, well, one payload, one mid fight is all that could happen right here. They didn't quite get what they needed. It's not every day you can team wipe everyone.
Yeah.
And still not get a conversion. I mean, it hit a snag there after this fight from Chronix, although it was a beautiful sequence. Look at that. Come on. He was firing.
Come on,
Jared,
man.
Just stop. Just you lift your finger
He was
off
the only
left
one
click.
left.
And you know what was happening. He knows what he did. But either way, it's going to be good for him. 11, 9, and 10. Chronix is the one where my eyes are at right now. He's on an 8 streak. He's burning pretty well. But the biggest thing to me is impact. Last round, he was the one that was overpowered. He was the one that was corralled and pushed away. This is the round for him to go big if his team wants to win.
That is true. A nice headshot from Chronic to keep the man comfortable on the sniper, and he's able to give you a performance like this. He is spreading out damage. 1,200 in the form of both front lines, 1,800 in the form of their tank. The overpower goes wide, doesn't find its hit. Joel has to back off though. 39% for Virtus.Pro. You've got Seismic Crash, Whirlwind, and Heat Haze, and you got a through time and space and Flashbang ready to go with 2 more ultimates in the works. The game is still close, but they're going around for the flank. The through time and space is going to go wide. The Flashbang comes out, so does the Whirlwind, and they're going to be able to pick up Joes at this point. They really just have to try and stand on point, but they start dominance right into the back line. Pacheco's able to clean up, but they get rid of Evil Eye too. Rhino is zoning him off, but you've only got 2 members left.
63 to 18% Kanga. They're losing this fight. They lose Rhino right there. Joel's is going to be back, but the Dome Shield not available. Midnight up, but it's going to take a little bit of time for Evil Eye to get here. This might be Virtus.Pro's fight.
Joel stands on point, but the Dome Shield was already used, the Midnight as well. Now they have to try and find some type of way to touch. They're going to, but Joel's and Evil Eye are done. Chronix has to make his way to point. Rhino dashes right past it, but he's going to still be able to die. Virtus.Pro take no prisoners, but they do take game 1.
They finally
game 4,
get themselves on the point, or on the board with that point. Whatever they did between games 3 and 4 did finally kind of rectify, straighten out the ship, stop the rocking, at least for a little bit. Kanga have all too often found themselves at a scoreline looking like a 3-1 and lost a set. And at this point, probably trying to push as much of that out of their mind as they possibly can. Don't get bogged down in the detail. Just do it in the next map. They get to choose where they go as well. So a lot of things starting to come up for them. But during that game, biggest issue for me, Chronix looked fantastic, but he only was able to get a lot of individual moments. Early game, it was very consistent. During that last push, he had, quadra kill. Can't argue against that. But nothing really around the mid-fight. Even before that quadra kill and then after that quadra kill, not a lot of kills coming out from him, not as many consistent headshots. Virtus.Pro figured out how to play against him.
Yeah, plenty of kills for Kanga Esports, but they weren't able to clutch out the win. Stonekeep is in the books for VP, their first game. Right after this break, we'll see if VP still have some fight in them.
SteelSeries, the official peripheral provider of the Paladins Premier League.
You don't have to mention, you just like their attention. It's written all over your face. I don't wanna play the quiet time when I'm near you. Reading old messages on my phone every time I see you. Tell me, is this part of an act just to keep your image intact? If you think that strategy smart, I'm not gonna defend my beating heart. Defend my beating heart. You knocked on my window and slept on my pillow, then said you had found your place. Not sure if I want this. You don't think that I notice. This isn't like giving you space. I don't wanna play the quiet type when I'm near you, pretending that I don't know who you are every time I see you.
Wouldn't be a Kanga set if we got out of here cleanly, folks. Virtus.Pro bounced back on Stonekeep to at least grab themselves one map win before all is said and done. Good on them, too. I think they're laughing about it, having a good time, smiles on their face coming out of the booth for the more extended break here after game number 4. And this is a good sign for them, right? But I don't know. Now that you get that creeping, thing down your spine as Kanga might start to backslide a little bit and kind of go back to their old way of just choking out really, really good sets that they had a huge lead in.
Yeah, it's definitely a classic Kang moment. I think us potentially going further down in this set. I can't think of what 4-0s they've won. They won
Mike.
against Na'Vi with Mike.
Yeah.
Can't think of any other off the top of my head.
Probably because there might have not been one. And you got to say there's a critical moment there where Rhino kills himself on the spawn door. I think the game might end there, right? They were in a really good position to just drive that payload on home. That's a pretty catastrophic failure, I think, in my book.
Yeah, I mean, landing at that much HP, I just don't think he thought that the hitbox of the spawn door extended that far.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, at the last moment. I got to say, though, Fish on that BK, I think, on this map, I was surprised they went with the same DPS line again, but it worked out. Having this level of control, BK is pretty good at pushing on this map and apparently just as good at defending.
Definitely had a pretty key moment here. This King Bomb tracking down Gera.
Why are you running?
From a long, long way away. This little Poppy there off the mount. A lot of momentum coming on in. Grover, honestly, pretty critical there in that last team fight. When things get chaotic and everybody's getting healed in an area of effect, so good for the rest of the boys of Virtus.Pro, man.
Grover's so good in chaos because you don't need to focus on one single target, right? Everyone's getting low. You're already healing. You don't even have to think about it. You're just healing everybody.
Yeah.
No targets to do. I mean, we've seen players that have crashed healing people in the PCL.
Tuck in the corner.
Yeah, the Grover was just like walking into the
roll.
wall.
Yeah.
And his whole team
still
was
won the fight, damn it.
heals.
And they still won the damn fight. Great stuff here, though, I think, from Virtus.Pro to be able to bounce back. You don't want to go quietly into that good night. You still have a really important set to play on today. So I think while they might still lose this set, right, these reverse sweeps are very uncommon. I think it's good for them to at least get one win before they kind of, have to square off against Envy. It allows, Envy to kind of get a look at Virtus.Pro now and say, if they get 4-0'd, we're feeling much better about our chances.
Yeah, that one win, I think, is definitely going to at least boost them a little bit. They're like, I mean, maybe we weren't giving our all because we have to focus on the next game, but we still got one even with that, right? We're still that good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so still good on them, I think, by getting that, going to be good for their momentum moving forward. We'll see how that pays off for them later today, but they still have a set to finish. They still have a set to potentially come back and win if that's how they want to do it today.
Right.
Like, that would be a drain on a team's energy, honestly, if you have another set that has way more pressure behind it within a couple hours.
That's part of the conversation we had coming into today was if Virtus.Pro fall behind big early, like they did, they're down 3-0, how hard are they going to sweat for this one, right? Are they going to die on this hill? We'll have to see, man. This is where the comeback would begin. We're going to head to the map screen here and see where this set can unfold. Now, finally, Virtus.Pro get to pick a map, and they are going to select Ascension Peak.
Which isn't surprising. This is a map that I think they've been pretty solid on. I would say Kanga. I think Kanga kind of like it. Also bring it against VP. I don't think VP like being second pick on this map too much. Even though this is a decent map for VP, I think it's also pretty good for Kanga. Good for that IO strategy, too, in particular, I think is a big part of it as well.
Yeah, they diverted from the IO, went for the Genos on Stone Keep. And though it wasn't the, reason for the loss by any means, like I said, that pretty critical moment there with Rhino and the spawn door, I think, was the catastrophic failure. The game was in their hands, theirs to lose for sure, and unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbled there. Chronic still feeling good about their chances, though. They've given themselves as big of a cushion as humanly possible. Not only did they grab these 3 wins in a row, 2 of those wins were 4-0, so really putting their foot on the throat of Virtus.Pro early. A single mistake here would result in the set loss for VP. Cassie banned away, Atlas banned away. A lot of Atlas and Makoa making it through today. And with first pick, I don't know how critical Makoa is for the strategy of Kanga, but they are going to force VP to either ban it away or give it up.
And honestly, banning Atlas for VP, I feel like they've kind of limited themselves a lot. Yes, I guess they really, really don't want to play with those power tanks in the game, but I feel like when they both get through, it's better for you on second pick. If you don't ban Atlas or Koa first, on second pick, either it gets through and you end up in the better end of the deal, or they ban one and you manage to get a ban of your choice on the second pick side, which you wouldn't have gotten if you chose to ban one of the 2. So VP kind of got themselves stuck there. Kanga got to choose their pick of the litter, banning Cassie and Willow, and of course, it's Kanga. They have Chronix.
Ghost Feather
They're going to
reporting.
first pick Strix.
Yeah, I don't mind really where the draft is at. It feels like it really can be interesting. You can get 4 DPS bans. You could get 4 tank bans. You can get all different types of stuff. Seeing different prioritizations. So many frontliners open, though. Both point frontliners, both of the more popular push tanks in aggro, or Ash and Khan, excuse me. Both the power tanks already sat out for this one, so what you want to prioritize first is largely up to you. Once that premier DPS has been locked in, and then that premier DPS, don't get it twisted, is definitely Strix.
For sure. And they end up with a pretty good side of this, especially with those two bans in the way. VP respond with a good tank line, but a very Wrecker weak front line, I guess.
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
able to get shredded by it if they really.
And Wrecker scales based off of your base damage. 1200 is one of the highest base numbers in the game, so Chronix can go straight into that and have a field day plowing through those shields as soon as possible. Can give Hover to Nara here. Conversation around front lines on Ascension Peak, with the point being as large as it is definitely an interesting one. Whether you need more front lines to kind of double down on that, or you need less and just throw the Fox on there in the corner and everybody else kind of go to work.
Nara can be great when she gets aggressive with a DR in the middle of your team, so why not run the IO with her? Not only can Luna replace her on the point, but you can use those swift arrows to speed her into the middle of the team, make her even more effective faster. Plus that DR gives her more survivability off of her cooldowns, and that's kind of a weakness of Inara a lot of the times, where if you just burn through her cooldowns for one pick, you're sitting duck. She doesn't have any quick way out. She's a big hitbox, not easy to avoid shots with her, so definitely I think a good fill-in to keep her alive. Shaolin potentially again for VP, and honestly, I wish I knew why they were going for the shot over some others. Maybe just the stealth to sustain in front of the Strix. If you're going to go invisible, then I'm just going to go invisible and counter you that way. And that long-range CC potential, right? If you can one-shot the Strix by getting an Impaler into a planted, that's a lot easier than having to go all the way on top of him and then win that fight at point-blank range.
Big playmaking potential here for Virtus.Pro, and Eevee looking like potential's lock-in here for Kanga Esports. Now the thing about Shaolin is he is a little bit flexible for Virtus.Pro. I think it wouldn't be a wild assumption to see either Erase or Fish on this pick. So Kanga still need to be careful about what Fish Echo is going to bring into Ascension Peak. And Eevee, of course, damn near the top of his list. Just an overall champions. Don't have to worry about that blaster, potentially Drogos, but running that into a Strix is a much more favorable scenario for Kanga, so I think pretty easy choice there up to Eevee.
Ruckus would be a good pick too. Pairs very, very well with the IO, able to get into that back line, onto that Genos, that Sha, and we'll have to see what the final pick will be for VP. Maeve is still open, so they could do that. They will have double Haven, but they will have a lot of mobility and flexibility. Honestly, either of them, Fish and Erase, can either play both, so they could just honestly go with whoever's feeling it at that point to pick that if they want to go that way. Drogo's also potentially too, but into the Strix might be difficult. Definitely able to be played around. We've seen Drogos get played into heavy hit scan on this map. You play on that side with the high ground, the well side, as some teams will call it, and you just hug that wall and you shoot point through the windows. Most of the time that Strix has to commit so far to shoot you, he's going to be weak to the rest of your team, whoever's contesting your point, whether it on Kanga side be Luna, whether it be Inara. On VP side, the Barrack could potentially be able to dive down onto him and pressure him out if he moves forward to fight that Drogos.
Well, regardless of what VP go lock in here, Kanga have their style of composition, man. They have something for Chronix to just soften targets up from the back line, and then they have a nice little trio here for the rest of the boys to clean up on. If Rhino and Evil Eye here on the Ruckus and the Eevee can just capitalize on what Chronix tees up for them, they're going to be in a good spot here. Kind of a diveable composition here. Not a lot of mobility in this backline for VP.
Yeah, for sure. Shaolin and BK. BK has the poppy to knock you back, right? Like just the fact that he doesn't go too far, but he's knocking you far away too, so it kind of makes up for it. But Ruckus can immediately dash out of that poppy. Eevee doesn't really care about it, so that could be a lot of pressure back there. Depends on where VP positions. If they position in a way where the dive has to break line of sight with the IO, I don't know if Kanga's dive will be able to sustain through the damage on the rest of the team.
Will Kanga close this one out, guys? Put the nail in the coffin, or does the backslide continue?
That is a very, very good question. I mean, Virtus.Pro were able to get their first game on Stone Keep. Kanga, this is their map pick, just like you said right before we cut the break, Boris. They did pick Ascension Peak. So it's a matter of, well, I mean, I hope they can close it out. If they don't, then that speaks volumes of that VP's figured something out.
Honestly, this Shaolin might have something to do with it. Last game, Charla and Bomb King this game. Charla and Bomb King. They win with this one, and they seem to have maybe figured something out. And I think it does kind of fall in. With recurve, you're firing a little bit faster. And with the stealth changes, you are getting some more shots off before you get taken out of your stealth. And so for some of these moments, it might be a good choice to trade against
Oh my gosh.
Strix and try to get a lot of damage out in one go.
You find that opening stun. You already see Evil Eyes over there. Ray's able to get those shots, which is good because he's able to burn them down. But 27% already for Kanga. I mean, they've just been pretty much trying to focus on this point. Luna's right next to Chronix, and he is just firing as much as he possibly can to try and soften up those targets like being set on the desk, and they're just looking for a way to finish them off.
Trying to finish him off is the only thing they haven't been able to do just yet. Chronix is going to get kind of left-clicked, hold W down for Cruncy. The healing's going to be good for him. It's going to be kind of a interesting flank between all these teams. It's 54-12. Kanga still doing what they've been doing pretty much all of today, which is control the objective over Virtus.Pro.
63% and climbing for the Kanga Esports. And they are still looking for their opportunity. They may have found it in the form of Pacheco going down first. Now he's just keeping an eye out for a raise, trying to see if he can hit him through the tree. Little crack right there, but he's not going to be able to find it. He will find a couple of bullets, though, into Cruncy's shield and then into him. But the wall trolled him. He put up the wall and it hit the top of that. The flashbang didn't actually go through, but Chronix is still able to find a kill.
Trying to do whatever they can. Chronix, you might not need the flashbang, but it would have been nice. Pacheco does get to him, gets to Evil Eye as well. That's a double kill for the Bomb King, who's now in a prime position to try and turn this one around for his team.
Yeah, Pacheco with a double. That is something for sure. I mean, they've got 96% though, Kanga. I mean, they are looking great, but the question is, will they be able to capture the point? They are holding a very strong line through time and space.
Wow.
Is going to be able to find a nice shot onto Guerra, and now they're just focusing down. Rhino Joe's going to have to die on point. Just exactly what he's trying to do. He's going to get stunned just for a little bit, but he is still going to go down 96% to 78. A raise in the back. He's looking for some good shots. He's already on top of Guerra. The overpower to try and finish off Chronix. They're going to be able to get it. And oh boy, I mean 99%, it's only the first point, but I mean it's speaking volumes about what VP, if they figured out something, this might be it. They're finding a good Ice Storm, they found a Hexafire to try and pressure, but it's not worth anything. They don't get anything at all from that.
Joel's going to be able to touch back down, and that's about all he has that comes out for him. The kills are just too strong from Virtus.Pro. The point goes their way. And yeah, they seem to have zoned in on something Kanga was doing, and I think a lot of it, well, not only is coming down to kind of objective control, but where Bomb King falls specifically. Pacheco had a very stellar moment in that. He got a clean double kill to get rid of both DPS players for Kanga, left the tanks kind of out to dry. Dosups itemizing a little earlier into the Bulldozer to help deal with Luna. I think they are making it a little easier to shut down IO. A lot easier to get to Chronix and deal with him.
Nice. They're able to get at least 3 kills, though. 4 in the form of almost every member on Kanga Esports. Everybody except for Rhino being able to pick up a kill in that feed. But still, they were able to at least force them back and try and counter out the zone that they had on Kanga Esports. But it still looks like they're going to have to back up, try and give up some space. Still, the heat haze gets used, trying to find not only their opening, but trying to keep that pressure going. But still, Chronix is going to win that trade against a raise despite having used the ultimate.
He's going to be blinking around, trying to deal with the con shield. Dosups gets 2 kills. You're just trying to get back to the objective. That's a great way to start things off for you. Keep yourself enabled like that. Rhino goes down as well for diving too deep. So Kanga going to be pushed backs against the wall. Payload should start moving again. You have about a minute left to try and convert this.
Your time and space is ready, along with the King Bomb. The Overpower and Dome Shield are coming up soon. Cruncy is just holding this high ground. I mean, he's just firing directly into Joel's. He's looking for him. Battle Shout, give himself some immunity, and also back up. Doesn't want to take too much damage. Everyone's just biding their time. I mean, they're playing pretty patiently, except for Joel's, who just now has gone in. New time and space, though, is going to be able to dodge just by a fraction, and that's going to keep Guerra alive and well, but he's poppy bombed in. Pacheco looking for kills and looking for damage. He finds both in the form of Joel's.
Well, it's going to be good damage. Pacheco double kill once again, a phrase that's becoming all too common in this game. As it's looking pretty good. Cruncy going to be able to team up with the Rays. They burn down Rhino. Now there's only a couple members of Kanga left to defend.
I mean, Joel's able to make it back, which is important. They can still contest this, especially with 10 seconds left. They have to use Seismic Crash, and they will. Flashbang goes out, but so does this Dome Shield. They are more than willing to be able to try and trade out ultimates, but will they be able to trade out lives? Unfortunately not. Fasheko and Crunty are going to get killed and picked off. Now they're looking at Barrick, while Evil also simultaneously keeping a look at the Shaolin on the side. He's going to get melted as well, and now we've got a 1-1 with 2 ultimates up on both sides, and that's going to be a 4 ultimate total for this game so far.
I'm starting to think that the thing they figured out isn't necessarily too difficult to figure out, as much as it is something that fits their playstyle very well. Fasheko, very good at Bomb King. Very good at a lot of champions, but very good at Bomb King. Luminary, really, really good with a really good Bomb King. They have both of these things together. Tends to line up pretty well for them. Of course, it does also augment arrays to do a little bit more damage as well. Any planted combos, which he's actually gotten quite a few off this game as well. It's impressive to see where they're going. With Fasheko, 6-5 and 2. If he is able to have as much of an impact with the kills that he's been having, with maybe not trading out his life, this is going to start steeping much more in favor of Virtus.Pro. All it takes is one really good play from Fasheko or against Fasheko to switch and sway this game.
Well, trying to go for the overpower. He's going to miss. He tried to clip him in some sort of way. Evil goes in the back and actually just ends up dropping the Ice Storm. Joel tries to follow up, and so does the rest of the team, with Luna standing on point. They haven't been able to get a kill except for a raise. They are going to be able to find him with Gara being extremely low. They're going to peel for him just for a little bit. He's already charging in. He's got the Hexifier as well, and they're keeping them pinned against the side flank.
Been just locking them away over near the well, making sure they can't get any objective control. 57-3 as Virtus.Pro just now start ticking up a little bit, but it's only a little bit as the tanks from Kanga are still around and still here to play. Rhino kind of on the ropes right now, and he's going to go for the Hexifier.
He is. He's going to try and not only find his opening, but force that bearing off a point. The King Bomb comes through, but erase. Fasheko, both of them are gone. Rhino goes down. Chronix with a double, and 75% for Kanga.
I mean, Rhino goes down, but Joel stays alive thanks to Gara, and now they're going to be able to find some kills. That was so well executed. A save, very, very close to death. That one kill onto Fasheko makes the difference.
Yeah, 2-1. Kanga Esports, now they're looking like they're fighting back more than ever. They've got the Be Gone, they've got the Flashbang, and almost Seismic Crash with Hexfire being used at the very, very beginning of that round. They've got through time and space as well, with Rhino actually diving all the way in the back line. They're not only creating pressure, but they're creating space for that payload to keep moving without much to worry about, especially since Dosems goes down.
Being able to find that, again, keep it rolling, 2 minutes left. That archway, much like Stone Keep, going to be your biggest enemy through all of this. Very similar kind of ending portion of the map as you would have that map, which we saw go Virtus.Pro's way. The difference is that otherwise it's an entirely uphill battle for Kanga in this case. But so far, very, very few snags and a good Seismic Crash to set things up.
Oh, nice. He's actually going to take care of 2 of them, because they were already low health. That Seismic Crash makes them even lower, and the teammates will be able to finish off what was set up for them. You got a minute 30 still available with the payload. It's almost in, holding up the wall, gonna wall them off, and now Joel's is just gonna sit on point, try and create more and more space. You create a kill in the form of Dosems and Fasheko, and you create yourself a win for Kanga Esports, 3-1. Now they only need one more point capture to be able to take this 4-1 against VP.
Not only take it 4-1, but end their season on a pretty large win, being able to come through. Number 7 versus currently number 4. I believe in Virtus.Pro, looking to try and fight later on against Envy for that 3rd place spot. A lot is going to come down. This match doesn't change much for Virtus.Pro's later set. So for Kanga, a win here is a good way to end the season. Kind of an upset at the end of the day, and a great showcase for when you are going into qualifiers.
For sure. Chronix 10-3. Man himself already top damaging again, with Dosems actually being 2nd. I mean, they've got their opportunity. It's a matter of whether they can seize it. 6% overpower comes through, but it's going to miss again. They're just holding spots. Everyone's being so patient. 9% to 3. And they just dropped Luna on the point. Now they're going to try and find their opening. Evil Eye goes in, drops the Ice Storm, I believe. Do time and space to come through. It's going to go wide, especially since Gara actually just dashes out. He gets rid of Rhino. He gets rid of Evil Eye. But Chronix is able to at least find a kill for his team.
Comeback mechanic enabled for Virtus.Pro. Going to be capturing 4% every single tick right here as you see it jump up pretty fast for them. Already 50% rising still. It's just been a few seconds. All you need is a little bit of pressure from Kanga to be able to stall that one out and kill on the bomb to get started off.
Yeah, exactly. Rhino goes there all the way around on side, finds an open kill on the Fasheko, and Jols is just on point trying to fight back against Krutzy. He is going to be able to do it. Now they're swapping targets. They're looking at Barrick. Erase actually just plants himself, tries to make sure that Rhino does not die, but he's still going to get taken care of. 48% to 93. You've got a King Bomb and almost an Overpower available. Most definitely will be used during this fight if VP want to try and capture this point.
They're only going to have a little bit of time left, and King Bomb's going to get channeled up. It's going to come in rolling from the side off the balcony. Doesn't connect with anybody as he just runs it into the corner.
Oh, man. Kanga Esports actually just take it. They aren't even able to touch. VP weren't able to make it back. They used the King Bomb. They weren't actually able to try and contest that.
I think well played, well called at the end to use the King Bomb, use the Overpower even. You heard the cue for it right before the game ended. It just came down to, can we get rid of 3 guys on this giant objective? And, well, they couldn't do it without taking too much damage in the process. Rolls into the corner there for Fasheko. Not exactly the cleanest end for the first set for Virtus.Pro, but lucky for them. Again, they have another one later. Kanga, though, they end their season on a win up against VP. Very solid for them.
100%. I mean, I'm happy for them. But you brought it up before when you mentioned VP. I mean, I'm sort of getting NIP flashbacks too. I mean, VP have a little bit of a rough split. I mean, they still qualify.
Yeah.
They still are exempt of that qualifier bracket. So they're still able to come through. That's for sure. But it's a matter of, will they be able to continually hold on? They've been losing a few games here and there. It's a matter of, will they be ready for qualifiers? Will they come into it?
And that's the biggest question. They've got 2 weeks since they're in the top 4 before they play in the quarterfinals starting tomorrow. Of course, one more set today to determine if they're going to be 3rd or 4th throughout that. But no matter what, it's going to be a difficult opponent that they face in that moment. A lot to work on in these 2 weeks to kind of double down, grind up. And lucky for them, even if you are in maybe a rough spot today, even if you lose your set later today, you do have, again, that 2-week period, that 2-week stretch to watch the games that are during the qualifiers, spend a week of just practice, get everything right back under your belt, and come into it ready and prepared.
They've got plenty of time to be able to rectify their mistakes. VP, that is. But congratulations to Kanga Esports, a 4-1 victory for them. Pretty nice if you tell that to me. We're going to throw it right back to the desk and get their opinions on it.
Thank you so much, Fawn and Gore. Great job on the call down there. Great job to Kanga, and congratulations to them for not only closing out this set, not backsliding, not choking, but who did they beat here today? They beat Virtus.Pro. They beat one of the hottest teams in the league at the moment, and a team that's not out of the woods yet. But we have to kind of take a second here to celebrate and smell the roses for Kanga Esports, one of my favorite teams to watch in the league. Getting back to their roots a little bit, right? That Strix, that IO, the dive from Evil Eye and Rhino, and getting the job done.
So what was it? IO 100% win rate, Jeno 0% win rate.
Exactly. It's that simple, baby. Cut and dry.
It is that simple. We can do math here at the Paladins Premier League, and IO seems to be a pretty good formula for success for Kanga. Also, Virtus.Pro not zoning is also probably a pretty big success for that, because specifically Rhino on that final fight, VP won that fight. It was pretty clean, and here he is.
You could tell.
Fish doesn't even see him.
Fish poppies into him, basically. Literally no way out of that one. Genos is scared off of this fight as well. Still in range to heal the rest of his team, but walled off there beautifully. I mean, this is exactly the positioning you want to be in as a Ruckus. And when you don't have to spend any cooldowns to get there, you get to the backline for free with all your dashes, all your rockets, and your shield. Just that simple, folks. I almost had a flashback to Frozen Guard there, where Kanga were extremely in the lead, and there's take-back potential there. Great job disarming the King Bomb as well. Rhino does a good job not only getting to the backline, but he made use of that. You know what I mean? He did not squander that opportunity. He did squander that opportunity dying to the spawn door on Stone Keep. I don't think Rhino wants to make that type of catastrophic mistake twice. He does a great job there on Ascension Peak, closing it out. And now we're going to send it down to an interview with the winners.
Yeah, that was such a weird. Well, hey guys, congratulations on your win. You're going to be able to end your season on a win. I just want to know, I mean, how does that feel? You came in kind of in a rough scenario, and being able to solidify a 4-1 against Virtus.Pro must be pretty big.
Yeah, it is for sure. We've been like through this bit of like a bad patch for us as a team, and like we're just working through it now. And I think this win is really good for us in terms of going into Worlds. Having that win behind us is good for morale to move forward.
Yeah, I think mentality-wise, it's good for us. Yeah.
And super awesome to hear. I mean, IO is something that you guys have drafted a lot. Now we saw that in full force today. I have a lot of your compositions just sort of drafted around that character now. I mean, we see it from you more than anyone else.
I think we're one of the like basically only teams that can consistently run it. A lot of other teams are having trouble actually pulling it out because it does require a certain play style, whether or not you understand that or not. But like IO is working for us because it's high skill, high reward. So
Yeah, exactly.
You told me not to ask about it, but I'm going to have to. Stonekeep, you guys were kind of going back and forth with Virtus.Pro on that one. What exactly gave them the edge up? What did they figure out and like start to do that caused trouble for you?
I mean, I ulted into the spawn door, so
Yeah.
that pretty much lost us the
I
game.
honestly think it wasn't. It was just us stuffing up key ults and stuff like that.
Yeah, like
Either way, you know you're going into qualifiers. You end this one on a win. I just want to know for your thoughts coming up into the qualifying bracket, I believe going up against the Hype Unit minor league team. How are you feeling about not only that as your opponent, but your chances to get through to the quarterfinals?
I think it's quite good for us going up against the minor league team. Console is a bit of that like shadow. Like you don't know what they're actually going to pull out.
Yeah.
They have their own meta. They have their own like set of players, and it's much different. Like we know minor league players. We've played against those guys on that team, so
Yeah, but looking good. Yeah.
Well, congratulations once again. A 4-1 victory over Virtus.Pro here for Kanga. Thank you guys for your time.
thank you.
Hi now, powering the control room for the Paladins Premier League.